The Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network is proud to present Old Dominion Athletic Conference Volleyball from inside a rowdy Turner Gymnasium on the campus of the University of Lynchburg. Hello, volleyball fans. My name is Kyle Haney, and my tag team partner coming off the top rope is none other than Mr. Evan Gates. Evan, I am thrilled to be working with you again. We'll get to that in a second. We have a massive game here. It's Lynchburg's first home game. It's a Code Red night, and it's an ODAC conference foe in Randolph-Macon that has traditionally been very good. There is a lot happening, Mr. Gates.
Folks, we're not wasting any time to get this season started. 7 games on the road for Lynchburg. They come back with maybe their biggest home game of the season. And we know Randolph-Macon's a squad that has really had Lynchburg's number in recent years. The Hornets are trying to change it this year, and Coach Kevin Cardoza in his first season is creating something special.
Yeah, another element that's at play here that maybe I didn't even mention properly. First home game for first-year head coach Kevin Cardoza. He's had a lot of great things to say. Said Hannah Givens left the volleyball program in good shape. There's talent here. I knew we could win. It's part of the reason why he took the job. But you got to do it on the court. And, you know, we've been talking about that a little bit. You, in your homework, have heard from players who've said, yeah, we always seem to beat the teams we're supposed to beat. We can't spring that many upsets. We'd like to change that this season.
Absolutely, and in the ODAC, there are so many strong teams, especially in the middle, who are starting to develop. And so we know this is a game, an example for Lynchburg. If you want to build that confidence early, you have the players to do it as well. It's a strong junior class, but don't rule out some of the younger players as well. Tori Williamson going to be one to watch. We'll talk about her throughout the night. Just so much firepower, but we know Randolph-Macon has it too.
It's an offensive attack for Lynchburg that is really well-rounded. You've got some great offensive options. Randolph-Macon will be the same way, and then obviously the defense and the serving will come into play as well, Evan. But a lot of storylines, a lot of things happening. We've got some statistical analysis, and worth pointing out too, Mr. Gates, Lynchburg 4-3, Randolph-Macon 4-2. Not a huge sample size just yet. We're still early in the season, but we are starting to learn more about these two ball clubs.
Well, absolutely, and they're coming from two different directions. You have Randolph-Macon off a few wins, look very comfortable in doing so. Lynchburg dropped a couple, but you can't forget the fact they started this season with 3 straight wins. That's something that they haven't done in a while. You got to look all the way back to 2016, the last time that they started 3-0, and so we know that this is a team that's capable of getting it done down the stretch.
Yeah, Lynchburg won 4 out of their first 5. Confidence is high. I still think confidence is high, even for this team that's lost 2 in a row. It was good competition their last time out on Saturday, and you're at that point in the season too, Evan, where it's a lot of games with 2 in a day. We'll actually see that Friday and Saturday for Lynchburg. But hold that thought for now. Let's talk about some of the keys that you have identified for both of these teams tonight as they look for success in a first ODAC win.
Kyle, like you mentioned, it's early in the season, really tough to really nail it down, those themes of what these two teams have to do. But when you're looking at this one, it starts with sharing the wealth for Randolph-Macon. We know Kylie Wilhelmi is going to be one to watch. She's going to gather a lot of attention on the scouting report. In fact, leading this team in kills per game, attack percentage, all the good offensive stats. She's going to have to be really important, but so will the supporting cast. And then controlling the crowd. It's Code Red night, a beautiful wave of red here at Turner Gymnasium, and it's really hard to compete against that. For the Hornets, it's about pushing the pace. How can they combat Randolph-Macon's size and really have that disciplined offense as well as getting blocks? They're going to have a very big disparity on the stat sheet. They like to get up at the net and make a difference.
Blocking is going to be one of our storylines tonight. It was actually one of Coach Cardoza's calling cards as he, in his previous stops as an assistant coach, places like Virginia Tech, Tennessee, Radford. He's been a lot of places, but first year as a head coach, saying he's loving his time on Lakeside Drive. I think everybody around here has loved having him. And, Evan, I mean, that's a key and a theme across all sports. Sometimes a new coach, even if the message isn't drastically different, they can just provide a little spark, a little something extra.
It gives you confidence. And listen, this team is moving in the right direction either way. A lot of upperclassmen now. I think it's going to be a big season. It has to start tonight.
The other side of the coaching coin for Randolph-Macon, completely different. Head coach Bill Rogers in his 23rd season. It's over 450 wins for Coach Rogers, 6-time ODAC Coach of the Year. Randolph-Macon has been one of the best in the Old Dominion Athletic Conference. They want to get back to the top this year. And you used a great phrase there, Evan. It starts tonight. We've got a moment of silence for 9/11, so we'll step aside for just a second. Well, now it's national anthem time, too.
That's
so
right.
we'll take a break again, volleyball fans, and we'll meet you at the net here in less than 5 minutes on LHSN.
Football has taught me a lot throughout my life. It's definitely had a huge imprint on who I am as a person, competing at a Division III level. Created that opportunity for me to go to college. Not only was I the first one in my family to graduate college, but I was really the first one to even go. Being the first one, I'm breaking that cycle, and now that I've graduated, I'm not sure what's the next step, but I know I have a lot of doors open. And a lot of those are open because I played football and ran track here at Otterbein.
So the pregame show was perfect, other than maybe a little boo-boo there on the moment of silence. We were going to mention on our own, Evan, that it is the anniversary, of course, of those events on September 11th, and they did a nice little moment of silence in the gym. It just caught us off guard. We didn't know when they were going to do it.
Well, there's so much to talk about, too.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the starting game of the season, and we have, obviously, a moment in American history that needs to be paid attention to. Everything going on at Turner Gymnasium.
No, you're so right. Well said by you. And we hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday, September 11th. 2024 is still technically summertime, Evan. We've got like another week and a half of summer, but these fall sports here on campus are in full swing. You got to call a women's field hockey matchup. We've got women's soccer, men's soccer, women's volleyball. Let's see, there's golf in the fall.
And it's all this week, too. It felt like there were a few weeks for Lynchburg where nobody was at home. And, hey, guess what? We have 4 days straight of action in the Hill City.
That's right. And I think you can hear that crowd come alive as Mr. Joe Brennan does the introductions here for the starting lineups. It is a Code Red night, fans. And if you're not familiar, that's a night where everybody wears the red. Most everybody, 99% anyway. You get the red T-shirt. It's part of the SAC initiative to get students out here, and it does create a rough and rowdy atmosphere. It's a lot of fun. Everybody remembers the Code Red volleyball game last season against Bridgewater. I mean, that was one that everybody's still talking about, Evan. So you mentioned it briefly. How does the crowd affect both teams? Because sometimes, even though you're the home team, that extra rowdy crowd can add a little weight on your shoulders, too.
Oh, and you can't forget the pressure of it being that first home game. But, Kyle, I want to point out this. That Bridgewater game for Code Red last year, that was a 3-0 defeat. Straight sets for Bridgewater. But listen, the crowd was here the entire time, and I don't think people remember that scoreline from that night. So you're thinking if this game is close in a fifth set, you have to imagine Lynchburg's going to have that advantage. But we know Randolph-Macon has played in rough atmospheres before. The ODAC is locked and loaded like never before, and we know that they are going to come out firing. They have to get it started in the first set.
Outstanding phrasing by you. If you can get to that first set, the big crowd can make a difference for you. Got to get there. Interestingly enough, in the research, Lynchburg's 2-1 in 5-setters this year. Randolph-Macon has yet to go to 5 sets. It's been all 3 and 4 sets for Macon. So maybe a possible another advantage for Lynchburg if the game does go long. But yeah, first to win 3. If you get to that 5th set, it's to 15. Otherwise, we're playing to 25, win by 2, and we'll try to have a few other reminders about the volleyball rules and regulations. It's just a fantastic sport, but then there can be some things that even for the trained broadcaster, the ref will make a call, and you have to dig into your file and wonder what exactly he or she is talking about. What happened out there?
That's right. Keep your encyclopedia close, because
Yeah.
we're going to see a few new ones here and there. We know rule changes in the offseason that we might get to talk about later in this game, but either way, it's the same game we know and love, and this first set might tell a pretty big story about what to expect down the stretch for both of these teams.
Offensive weapons for Lynchburg include the aforementioned Tori Williamson, leading the team in several categories right now, including kills per set. Kaylee Keough is a proven commodity on the volleyball floor and the sand, actually, for the University of Lynchburg. Bree Spainhour is another one up front that in her third season, Evan, she's just got a boatload of experience. Back to that heavy junior class, a lot of these ladies have logged a lot of minutes and a lot of sets out there on the hardwood. I think they'll be ready this season. I think they're ready to take that next step.
Well, familiarity always helps, especially when you have a new coaching staff. We talked about the fact there is a new energy, but a lot of these players are very familiar with each other, and that firepower is starting to take place on the stat sheet. You don't always see it in the numbers, but the Tori Williamsons, the Bree Spainhours of the world, they're going to make a difference, and when you see those all-ODAC teams maybe later in the postseason, you're going to recognize what they've been able to accomplish.
Ava Meinhardt will be a positive force in the middle for Lynchburg, offensively and defensively. Both teams going to run a two-setter system in all likelihood. Jana Leak and Kiri Thibodeau, the ones to know for Lynchburg. Randolph-Macon in the road, black and lemon. Ball in the air. Let's play some Lynchburg volleyball. First pass, Leak has got to bump set that up. Spainhour hangs and shoots it over. Soft touch, fended nicely, and then this ball will kick off the rafters. Still up there and still in play. If it stays on your side, play it. Lynchburg actually got a bit of a break right there. Hornets will reorganize. Another swing for Spainhour. Hasn't led to a point yet. What a rally to start. Leak will go cross court. High ball set. Knocked down, shoveled up. Still alive. Finally, the point for Lynchburg. Finally, it was hard-earned, Evan.
You want the crowd on your feet early. How about the first play of the game? Great execution from Lynchburg, too. They stayed balanced and composed, and you saw that one in the rafters. You can't give up on those plays. Great work from the Hornets.
And just another thing you have to love about volleyball, you can get those long rallies. You never know when they're going to end. First swing comes from the middle for Randolph-Macon. It's Will Helmy, the junior, is the leader in most of their offensive categories. And on an early action play, you can see why. That was well placed and had some velocity.
And you're going to see when she gets that set in the right spot, she is so tough to beat at the net. And throughout this game, her power is going to be on display.
Williamson will take the serve. Leak bumps over to Spainhour, and then that ball is down but out. Just missed the line. Spainhour tried to go down the same side line there coming. And it was a well thought out offensive move, but just couldn't get it there. Keough to Leak in the middle to Meinhardt. Randolph-Macon going to try to get organized. Out of system. They'll shovel another one up. Good energy and activity from both teams early. Bump set from Clark to Keough. That's fielded in the middle. And here comes another swing, and that ball's out. Good job by Morgan Clark, the libero, number 5, to identify the out ball, Evan, and let it go.
And you like Lynchburg's blocking early as well. There's a lot more movement this year than what you might be used to seeing. They're going to be back and forth, side to side. And if the Hornets can keep that tempo high, it's going to play to their advantage.
Good serve from Clark. The libero will set the outside hitter, and then that goes into the tape. Maddie DiCandido is the senior libero in the white jersey for Randolph-Macon. It's a Lynchburg lead, 3-2. See if Morgan Clark can get on a serving run. She's pretty dangerous back there. That was a good one, and it's an ace.
Beautiful stuff from Lynchburg. They're just putting it where their opponents aren't. And in that case, for Randolph-Macon, you almost seem like you're caught napping. Got to get back in this one quick. We know the Hornets are going to continue striking, and so far, looking really confident.
8th ace of the season for Morgan Clark. Another good serve, and that's out. Little two-hand soft touch, but another nice defensive play by Morgan Clark. As the libero, you want to run those down and get your hands on them. She's let a couple close ones go, and they've been the right decisions.
And listen, sometimes you can be a little over-eager, especially early in the game, trying to get those points. Clark is going to be smart enough here as a junior just to let those go, make the plays happen.
Love that so far. Platform, high ball set for Clark. How about the back row attack from Tori Williamson? That had some thump, but it was taken away. And there's a well-placed line ball down from Ooh, let's see. It was number 16, Jordan Little, it looked like, for Randolph-Macon.
Good work just to get Jana Leak out of position and fire at home. We're seeing a few strong attacks from both sides. They have those backside hitters to make it happen.
Broke a strong run for Lynchburg serving. Here's Kaylee Keogh. Good positive block touch at the net. Randolph-Macon will transition to offense. Clark, another bump set. Keogh, soft touch, and that's down. Don't always have to hit them all hard. Keogh, fantastic with the adjustments in midair, Evan. That was one of the things that I really loved about her game last year. She's got the fastball. She's got the changeup right there, too.
Well, a lot of the times, too, you're going to use your decoys to really make this offense a little disguised. That time, it's all Keogh. She's going to set this play up and allow it to happen in isolation. Very strong stuff. And Lynchburg up 3 early.
6-3 Lynchburg. There's a serve that is long from Kiri Thibodeau, the other setter jumping in there, and that serve just a bit too strong. Randolph-Macon back within 2.
We've talked about how it's still early in the season, so a lot of the numbers are going to be pretty similar when you look at service aces and service errors, but it's games like these, the big ones in conference, where those little ones can add up quickly.
Millie Mock serving, former ODAC Rookie of the Year. That set was way off target from Thibodeau, but Keogh was able to just get it over. Roll shot, that's outside the antenna. No good there, point Lynchburg.
Great pressure from the Hornets as well, because you're seeing with these blocks, they're really just setting the power on the offensive end and forcing Randolph-Macon to try and go around. And if they're swinging out to the side, not much you can do in that case. Hornets pick up another point.
Strong right-handed serve from Kaylee Keogh. She'll have to take the second touch. Good swing from Ava Meinhardt, like the aggressiveness there. Excuse me, Tori Williamson on the attacking error, but back to what I just said, like the aggressiveness there from Tori Williamson. Don't give Macon just a free ball. Go ahead and take a swing on it. Maybe it works out. Lynchburg still leads by 2. That's another one. Like most sports, Evan, the score can dictate your strategy sometimes. Tori Williamson, libero, got a piece of that, and it's a Lynchburg point. Boy, the Hornets are attacking well, aren't they?
Williamson setting up the play start to finish. You saw a nice pass just to get her hands on it, and then coming back at the end to get the point with the kill. She is all over the place. One of those players from this offseason, you're really seeing her take a jump, not just in confidence, but the power, the speed that she is using. Very impressive.
No doubt. Confidence is huge for her. She always had the talent, but she's getting more and more confident. Thibodeau had to fend off a hard one, and that ball ended up hitting the rafters and caroming out. Lynchburg's got Leah DiNardo up front on that block. She's a freshman from Virginia Beach. First time you and I have seen her in person.
Well, coming into this one, she'd started 6 of the 7 games so far, too. And we know that there are a lot of experienced players on this roster, but the freshmen coming in, they have shown some stuff that might be very sustainable down the stretch as we had conference play.
A lot of young talent. Oh, Morgan Clark didn't catch that one cleanly as the libero. That was one I think she was thinking about letting it go, Evan. You could kind of sense she played that a little bit late and then did decide to play it, and that might have been the mistake that ended the point for Lynchburg. 8-7.
And Kyle, the problem with sometimes looking at that play is you have to make it way in advance, and that decision, you can't go back. Got to make it early.
Made up for it right there with a good dig, Morgan Clark. Tori Williamson roll shot over the top. Net joust. Randolph-Macon hit it a couple times. The Yellow Jackets could have tied on that sequence, but instead it's back to a 2-point Lynchburg advantage. It does feel like the Hornets have the energy early, Evan. I don't hate the Randolph-Macon response, though. I think they're playing steady.
Well, and the thing is, if you just stick around long enough, Lynchburg has the crowd. They have all this energy and momentum. If you're still keeping it close late in this game, you can sneak in. We saw Bridgewater do it in that Code Red last year, and so it's just about alleviating as much as you can.
Jana Leak serving for Lynchburg. She is a dangerous server. We saw her get on a big run last year. 8 aces a season high. Lynchburg will win another net joust at the tape. 3-point Hornet advantage.
Saw Zazero just trying to stay away from the net there, and Lynchburg doing so well. We talked about how they're undersized, and you can even just look at your screen and see some of that height disadvantage for the Hornets. But listen, they are playing so confidently and boldly at the net that I don't think that they look too undersized.
Leak was aggressive with the serve, and that one hit the twine and went straight down. Point for the Yellow Jackets.
Kyle, you have to wonder early in this game if Coach Cardoza is trying to really allow his players to go for those hard strong serves, or maybe do you want to be a little more conservative early?
Definitely a balancing act there for sure. You want to serve aggressive, you want to serve tough. Most coaches will tell you that a few errors are acceptable, especially when you are aggressive. Wow, how about Leah DiNardo getting up and then putting the roof on that one straight down for a point. Big time stuff, and the crowd appreciated it as well.
19 just knocking it down. That's all you got to do. Great blocking work from Lynchburg, and we're seeing it again. Up by 3, just trying to extend that lead early in this game.
It's another pass tight to the net for Randolph-Macon. Lynchburg serving is really bothering the Yellow Jackets. Good strong swing from the outside by Spainauer. Yellow Jackets are going to keep it alive. Free ball was woefully off the mark, and the Hornets are starting to roll. A 4-point advantage. Biggest one of the night so far for Lynchburg.
The Yellow Jackets have really struggled to get anything back past Lynchburg, and the fact that it just seems like everything is almost telegraphed. The Hornets are predicting it so well.
Good float serve from Tori Williamson. Big swing coming from Wilhelmi. That went off the outside arm of Keogh and out. Smart play there, and very smart by Randolph-Macon. When you're having a little bit of trouble, get the ball to your talent, get the ball to your best player, and it worked out on that occasion.
We talked at the beginning of the game and the fact that Lynchburg knows the most about Wilhelmi coming into this game. Well, it doesn't matter if you know stuff, if you still can't get past her. She is so impressive when she gets in her spot.
Up-tempo, middle attack first. Lynchburg reorganizes, and banging one home is Bree Spainauer. Cross court, perfect placement, and it adds some fire.
She can pick her spots like nobody else. We see her go down the line quite often, but that cross court opportunity is going to be open, especially for one of the taller players in Lynchburg's squad.
13-9, Lynchburg serving. Morgan Clark, another wayward pass for Randolph-Macon. Clark's got to get this shovel out. Leak did the same. Free ball from Keogh. This could be an offensive opportunity for Macon. They went middle quick. Didn't work out. Lynchburg slowed that down. Kaylee Keogh slamming that one down through the block across the net. And Randolph-Macon wants a timeout. Listen to this crowd and look at the crowd. Absolute scenes again on a code red night in Turner.
Might need your radar gun next time. Keogh putting it down. Lynchburg putting on a show, up 5 in the Hill City.
Our first timeout of the evening, so let's just keep it right here. Lynchburg 14-9. Gosh, Evan, what stands out to you so far? I mean, there's plenty. Statistically, we'll fire up the stat sheet here. But this is again maybe a game where, because of the energy and the environment in the gym, maybe you don't talk about the stats as much on a game like tonight.
Well, that's right. And sometimes, as analysts, you want to look at numbers. You want to have something in front of you, but you understand that just passing the eye test right now can be enough. And Lynchburg looks so composed. They have come out of the gate and really fired away. Now, the question is, in these huddles, we know that Randolph-Macon has a coach that's pretty familiar with the game. I'd say 487 wins for Mr. Bill Rogers, but you got to just stay one move ahead. It is a chess match, and for Lynchburg to come out and just continue keeping that momentum and holding serve is going to be very important.
And that's probably a volleyball maxim that applies for every team. First set is massive. Lynchburg 3-0 this season when they win set number 1. So there's a good stat for you. Obviously, you still have some heavy lifting. You got to win 3. That ball's out. Again, Lynchburg, they're playing aggressive, but also smart. They've let some balls go that are very close that other times you might try to play, but they're making the right reads.
With some of these kill attempts, we're just seeing Randolph-Macon struggle to put it in the right spot. Locke has a second opportunity that she fires on this time, but Randolph-Macon really starting to pepper that back line and trying to hit the corner.
Yeah, Allison Locke, 2.5 kills per set coming in, swinging at a 138 percentage. Crowd making some noise when the Randolph-Macon server bobbled the ball just a little bit. But this is the home court advantage. It is high volume and can be high stress. Oh, good block up front that time by Randolph-Macon. Really, first time we've seen them get a big, strong double block up front and power one down.
Well, the women in black are always going to have an answer. They have the players to do so. You look at some of the team leaders from last year, and it feels like almost everybody has come back. Obviously, that's excluding the fact that Grace Parker, your back-to-back ODAC Player of the Year, is gone. But still so much experience for Randolph-Macon, and you might see it late in these sets even if they're down.
They got Bree Spainauer on a lift right there. That means Yellow Jackets are back within 3. Coach Cardoza having a little chat with our official there. 15-12. Lynchburg still on top. We talked briefly about it's been a while since Lynchburg has beaten Randolph-Macon. Lost 2 against the Lemon and Black last year, both of them in Ashland. Lynchburg won the first set in the regular season affair, but success was hard to come by for the Hornets last season against Randolph-Macon.
Well, and after that game for Randolph-Macon, they went on to be on a really strong win streak. They won 10 of 11 in that middle portion of the season. We know that they fell short in the ODAC championship, but these games can be momentum swingers, especially when you haven't started conference play yet.
Kiri Thibodeau back in to serve for Lynchburg. Didn't play a lot last season. Big factor this year as a setter and a talented server. Had to go tight to the net to try to field that pass and really couldn't get there. Macon's within 3 again. First set action on a Wednesday in September. First home game of 9 this year, Evan. And really, it's crazy because 5 of them are going to come in 4 days. We've got 2 Friday and 2 Saturday inside here at Turner.
That's exactly right. The Hill City Classic going to be a really fun one, but you understand, doesn't matter if it's early or not, you got to get the wheels rolling.
Kaylee Keough mashed cross court for a point, caromed into the student section. There's so many people that the fans are waving at their friends as they come in to try to let them know where they're sitting. I mean, and the fans are still coming in. Gym was already pretty full. Nice job by Morgan Clark to look that one right into the pocket. Randolph-Macon with a chance to get organized and attack. Back row. Thibodeau on the move, setting it nicely, and that is put down by Ava Meinhardt. No, Tori Williamson again. Tori Williamson.
Been all over the place early in this game. You mentioned if you're walking in, you probably shouldn't tell your friends that you're wearing a red shirt. That might not be a great identifier.
Exactly. Williamson 13, Ava Meinhardt 16, similar body types as well. So I always get them confused, and they're both on the front row right now. Free ball over from Keough. Lynchburg leads by 5. Oh, that ball just put right into the tape. It was a good block from Lynchburg, but Lola Nolasco would probably tell you that was a bit of an unforced error from her.
I think so too. You see Lynchburg applying the pressure, and it doesn't always happen on their end of the court. They have just continued to pile on the energy. Randolph-Macon struggling to pick their spots.
Another timeout on the court. Let's keep it here again. Evan, we've got so much to talk about early in the season as well. We've been running down the schedule a little bit. We've been running down some things between these 2 teams. Dealer's choice, where you want to go from here as far as the conversation.
Goodness, there's so much to talk
about. There's pressure on you now.
Well, let's look at the ODAC preseason standings, because I think the numbers are always, you're looking at last year's standings. You have the coaches looking at all the numbers. Randolph-Macon comes in 3rd, Lynchburg comes in 7th. So you're saying, okay, obviously the disparity, it doesn't necessarily matter this early in the season. I think what we need to really pay attention to is the fact that there are so many teams in the mix. When you look at last year, Washington and Lee was a 4 seed and they win the ODAC championship. I think this conference is so much stronger when you look at those middle teams that can go in and make a difference.
That Washington and Lee squad last year was a team that Lynchburg beat inside Turner. 5-setter. That was the Bree Spainhour takeover, 5th set there. But you're right. There's so much quality competition throughout the league. Any given night, anybody can beat anybody. And if you're Lynchburg, I don't think you think about long-term. Again, most coaches in every sport will give you the old, hey, let's take it 1 game at a time. But I think you know that some long-term success is really available and attainable this year for Lynchburg.
Well, and as we've talked about early in the year, you don't want to look too much at the record. 4-3 is not a bad start. We've played some really good competition. You have to think you're going to get some of those games down the stretch. And again, maybe it starts tonight.
Another great serve, another tough serve leads to a pass that is just too close to the net for Randolph-Macon to do anything with. This is Kaylee Keough, talented volleyball player. She's a 6 rotation kind of player, never really has to leave the floor for Lynchburg. Oh, that one found a donut inside off a block deflection. And that'll be a point for Randolph-Macon, much needed. Lynchburg leads 20-14. I am obliged to point out that our friend Tim LaDuca, a big-time volleyball enthusiast, always talks about the 1-20 rule. That's something the coaches will talk about as well. You know, being the first team to get to 20 is huge. It doesn't guarantee success, but you'd like to be the first team to 20.
A 7-point cushion probably helps a little bit too. It's not a 20-19 game we're looking at right now. Now the question for the Hornets is, can you close it out and keep this pace going into the second set? You don't want to let the Lemon and Black get any type of confidence to try and sneak back in.
Yeah, I think score might actually be 20-15. They ruled that as a Randolph-Macon point. That one's off the block and down. So now it's 21-15.
Morgan Clark let one go, and it was about as close as you're going to get. Looked like it was inside, so obviously the Jackets get that point, but still a 6-point lead for Lynchburg.
Changes coming in. I think we're going to get to see Cassie Blackmore. Yeah, Cassie Blackmore is going to go back to serve for Ava Meinhardt. Cassie Blackmore is one that was a fixture in the starting lineup last 2 seasons. Sets have gone down a little bit this year, but this is an interesting move and I think a good move to get some experience out there serving late in this one. Nice one from Blackmore. Good block up front from Lynchburg, but that ball caromed out of play, so it's a Randolph-Macon point.
And Kyle, to your point, you have so much film nowadays. You can see anything and everything. For Cassie Blackmore to come in at this position, you know she has experience last year as a libero. She's just going to try and put a wrinkle in the blueprint, but we know Randolph-Macon still coming back.
Good serve there. DiNardo will get a set going. Not often you see your middle blocker set another front row hitter, but that time Lynchburg tried it. It'll end up being a Randolph-Macon point as Tori Williamson couldn't get the pancake under that ball that was falling to the floor.
Not many loud kills in the last few plays for Randolph-Macon. They're just being strategic. This passing has been efficient. They're really making sure that they take advantage of every opportunity.
Thibodeau, little jump set behind her, backside set. Nice job there by Lynchburg. Defended well by Randolph-Macon. Clark will use the platform set. Here's a good rally developing again. This is what we saw in the first play of the game. Evan, we haven't had a ton of these long ones yet. Man, well marshaled, but then the pass just hit the ceiling. Ava Meinhardt with an absolute thumper. Lynchburg's within 3 now of sealing a first set victory.
Seems like it's just a matter of time for Lynchburg to get the ball in the right person's hands, and they have found that velocity when they're getting the kills. That's a great set to open up the opportunity for Lynchburg as well, but now got to take care of business on the serving side. And
Lynchburg's using that talent and the deep roster. They're going some different directions. Morgan Clark one-handed one, but they're going to call that 2 touches, unfortunately. And that's a Randolph-Macon point. Lynchburg by 4. The point I was trying to make during the play was, you know, we've seen Bree Spainauer get a couple good ones. Kaylee Keough, Ava Meinhardt, Tori Williamson. We knew Lynchburg had offensive options. They seem to be spreading the wealth out tonight, keeping Randolph-Macon off balance. Never know where they're going to go. This time it was Tori Williamson. She got sent back. Lynchburg tried to keep it alive, but unable to do so.
We're just seeing Lynchburg a little struggle here and there when you look at some of these some of these receptions, because Randolph-Macon has been so talented in just picking their spots now. Few serve struggles early.
Leak, short one to DiNardo. Handled. Yellow Jackets in transition. Oh, Morgan Clark tried to go with 2 hands over her head, and that one caromed off. Randolph-Macon's within 2. Lynchburg needs a timeout. Our 3rd break of the first set. Let's just keep talking. Come on. We've been off all summer. Let's keep talking volleyball or any other sport, Evan.
Well, it feels like we've been in broadcasting hibernation, so we have to start spreading our wings too up here.
No doubt. LynchburgSports.com, by the way, to stay up to date with everything that's going on for the volleyball team and all the other programs. And the social media content is top tier again early in the season. We've seen some great stuff on the socials, and I love how it keeps everybody engaged. Ava Meinhardt had a little Instagram takeover this morning where she, did the takeover of the women's volleyball account. That was fun, a little sneak peek into the college life. I must say, I don't miss those long 60 and 90-minute classes. I can tell you that, Evan.
Well, listen, you got your Monday, Wednesday, Friday, your Tuesday, Thursday, and then you got to go to practice.
Right.
You might have another test out in Turner Gymnasium. But
right.
Listen, it's been such a fun start to the school year. You understand that there are a lot of sports competing right now in the fall schedule for Lynchburg. They're adding a few more this year. We know men's volleyball will be back in Turner Gymnasium. And hey, when you're trying to build a culture, it doesn't just start with the sports that you have. It starts with who's coming in, who are you recruiting, and even the coaches. Well, there's a lot of good things going down in the Hill City.
The people matter. The heartbeat matters. And Lynchburg's got a strong one right now inside Turner and all over campus. The lead has been cut to 2, though. It was as much as 6. Here's a flying Tori Williamson. Did that catch a piece of the line? Yes, it did. Oh, no. Chair umpire up top overruled it. Kevin Cardoza is going to speak with the official on the other side. Whoa, fans don't like it. That one was awfully close. And this will be Jana Leak going to the chair umpire. She is the speaking captain, so you can do that in volleyball, which I think is a good format. Don't have all your players yelling at the officials like in some sports. Just reserve it to one. And obviously
exactly
it was very respectful from Jana Leak.
Well, that might be a big swing too. Now just a 1-point deficit.
Really was. It's a game of inches, maybe less than that. Big hit there from the middle, and that's down. Oh, a statement shot that gets the crowd on their feet here inside Turner.
Well, Kyle, before that shot, Lynchburg was shooting right at 32%, and they have hit so strongly when you understand where they're picking their spots and what they've been able to do from a discipline standpoint. Now you got to really take care of business.
Lynchburg up by 2, within 2. Wow, well placed right there. Kylie Wilhelmi, the junior, sent that one down. Over 4.5 kills per set. And you can see why. When she gets a good set, when she gets the ball where it needs to be, there's almost no stopping her. And now Wilhelmi is serving as well. She's got 3 double-doubles this year. She's had over 10 digs 3 times. Leak, high ball, outside, Spainhour handled. Platform set from the Yellow Jackets. Lynchburg got a piece of that. Back row attack. Boy, that was nice from Tori Williamson. Play on. Oh, in the corner and perfectly placed. Another ball that if the offense can put it there, there's just almost no stopping it. And we're tied 23-23.
Allison Locke has had that door open throughout this game. Finally gets one down for Randolph-Macon, and maybe not a better time in the first set.
Keogh to Leak. Leak will try the little setter dump. Macon was ready. That's out of play. Good read on the outside by Jana Leak. Look at Jana Leak shouting out the chair umpire. Maybe sometimes the previous talk will help you get a call later on. That one was super close. Bill Rogers, the Randolph-Macon coach, not happy. Set point. Crowd on their feet inside Turner Gymnasium. It's pandemonium on Lakeside Drive. Morgan Clark to try to win it for Lynchburg. Handled well. Oh, that was a thumper from the outside. Nice play there for Randolph-Macon's Allison Locke. And that was right on time. We're tied 24-24.
Not much you can do. You isolate the blockers in that case, and Locke just fires home once again.
Crowd's going to stay on their feet. Got to win by 2. Lynchburg's been okay in extra point situations this year. 5 wins going over the 25-point mark. Little tip battle, net joust. Randolph-Macon point. Meinhardt thought she found a little seam over there. Now it's game point for Randolph-Macon.
Court gets tighter and tighter in those situations. Lynchburg, good thought, just poor execution, and now trying to stay in the set.
Lynchburg had a set point. Randolph-Macon has a set point. Yellow Jackets, 25-24. It's that close tonight. Spainhour, that's down. A deflection up front, but Bree Spainhour skipped it to the floor. We're tied again, 25-25.
That's what big-time players do. They show up when it matters, and we've seen Lynchburg now. Despite losing that lead early in this first set, you got to fight back because, as you said, it matters so much. This first one might dictate a lot more down the stretch.
Not a set point here. Again, you have to win by 2, 25-25. And this is just the first set. If it keeps up like this, Evan, my blood pressure may not be able to take it. Kiri Thibodeau with a good serve that got Randolph-Macon back on their heels. Clark to Thibodeau. Kaylee Keogh, soft touch over the top. This is tight to the net. Locke coming from the outside again, and she found a seam. Boy, she's swinging it well. They are setting Allison Locke, and she is obliging with some great swings.
Pass really put Keogh in a difficult position, and once again, it finds Locke on the other end. And now Randolph-Macon a serve away.
Second set point for Randolph-Macon. It's 26-25. Full volume from the crowd inside Turner, which is 99.9% Lynchburg fans. Ava Meinhardt tried to drop one in. Here's Locke again. They blocked her. Take two. Got down, though. Wow. Just the pogo stick bunny hops there from Allison Locke. First swing was blocked. It fell right back in her lap. She slapped it over and down, and it's a 2-point, extra point win for Randolph-Macon. It was that close, 27-25. Evan and I are back in about 60 seconds to digest it and get you ready for set two. You're watching ODAC Volleyball on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests, and I've recreated my identity for myself aside from just being an athlete.
My greatest personal discovery has been that I am capable of doing things that I didn't know I was capable of doing.
To be able to study what I wanted to and continue to play the sport I love, all of those things came together very nicely in one package in Division III.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball, or it's not just about school, it's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
It is just a madhouse inside Turner Gymnasium. Even the broadcasters can't figure it out. But our producer director, Ethan Marazzi's got us pointed in the right direction anyway. Evan, back to volleyball. Man, it's a first set. It's got everything you want. It goes extra points. Both teams battled. Lynchburg really controlled things for most of the set. Just could not close the deal, though, unfortunately. If you're a Hornet fan, you hope it doesn't come back to haunt them. If you're a Randolph-Macon fan, you love the fight back from your lemon and black squad.
Well, and it starts with a 7-piece and kills for Allison Locke, the sophomore, and it was all down the stretch, too. It felt like she had so much command late in that first set, and it starts with the setters as well. Randolph-Macon did such a great job of fielding some of those passes and making sure that it ends up with Locke. We talked about Wilhelmi. She's still lurking around, but you have that supporting cast, as we talked about on the outset of this broadcast.
Yeah, it's interesting. Lynchburg seems to be trying to get 4 or 5 different players, a steady diet of swings. For Randolph-Macon, it kind of became a two-headed monster there with Wilhelmi 5 kills, Allison Locke 7. So more balance for Lynchburg. Certainly a lot to be said for that. Randolph-Macon made it work. And you and I have talked about it. Sometimes you have an intention to set somebody in a play, but when those long rallies happen, you just kind of have to read and react, and the ball sort of goes wherever it goes. Strong, tough serve from Jana Leak to start set number 2. Lynchburg in the red with the black shorts. Black libero jersey for Morgan Clark. Too many touches that time around for Lynchburg, and the first point of set 2 goes to Randolph-Macon.
Those are the errors if you're Lynchburg. You don't want to be committing this early in a set, and we saw what they did in the first. Not saying you're going to get out as hot as they did every single set, but it does have to start with eliminating the unforced errors.
Got to play clean volleyball as much as you can. Jana Leak, oh, that's crafty. That's saucy right there. That's one of those setter attacks that you and I discussed in our pregame preparations. Leak doesn't do it much, once or twice a set, but when it's well-timed and well-placed, it's a point for Lynchburg. That's just almost impossible to defend.
Sometimes you just got to get the canvas out and see where the brush ends up. That was a beautiful job from Lynchburg. Again, there can be that power, but you also have to find the craftiness too.
Strong backline serve from Tori Williamson is too long, 2-1. Randolph-Macon leads. Lynchburg, a key to this game they thought was going to be serving tough and trying to target some specific back row players for Randolph-Macon. You look at your tape, you do your research, you decide who you think maybe doesn't have the best pair of hands back there, and you try to send a lot of serves in her direction. How about Lynchburg with the castle up front? Bree Spainauer and Leah DiNardo, an absolute fortress on the right side with a stuff.
They just continue to impress early in the season. You mentioned the serving. Right now, 4 service errors for Lynchburg. I think you can live with it if you're Coach Cardozo, because as we said, if you're targeting your spots and trying to hit them to the back line, you're going to have a few that go long.
Wilhelmi got a strong one off. Lynchburg handled it. Kaylee Keogh will return the favor. That one's off the block and out cross court. Lynchburg on top. In set 2, they trail 1-0.
Lots of composure from the Hornets. You're seeing Morgan Clark get everywhere. The libero coming into this one. And it just has to start with getting everybody engaged.
Oh, that was a misfire up front. That's actually going to lead to a point for Ella Courtney. She kind of shrugged the shoulders and said, oh, well, sometimes it works out. And the miss hit did work out. We're tied 3-3.
Kyle, it's crazy how 2 different hits throughout this game. You have one that fires cross court earlier and it just misses, and then those little sneaky ones can find their spot.
Each team had several close ones in set 1 that the coaches were asking the questions on. Watch out. Bree Spainauer pummels that one down. That's just way too much room for Bree Spainauer. I think the block was late for Macon. Spainauer, power hour, made him pay.
Turning into a number 12 takeover, and we've seen Bree Spainauer just continue to evolve throughout this offseason. She was an all-ODAC third-teamer last year and really just starting to explore her skill sets, use some of that power as well.
She's a fan favorite for several reasons. Reason number 1 is she's really good as this serve goes out from Thibodeau. Reason number 2 for Spainauer, Evan, she's a basketball player as well, so the fans just get to see her so much on court here in Turner. I added up the games. This is game number 109 in a Hornet uniform, and she's just a junior. Now, of course, that's split between basketball and volleyball, but that's really impressive stuff from Bree Spainauer as we see both teams trade long serves.
And equally impressive, she's starting for both teams as well. You don't see that necessarily even as a junior or sophomore, but what she has been able to accomplish is just allowing Lynchburg to see her values in more than one way.
There's another one that's out. Oh, tipped? Yeah. Officials will say a finger got on that. Kevin Cardozo, now the head coach for Lynchburg. He's asking the question, and the fans are giving their thoughts on the call. Those tip balls, Evan, that's one at the higher levels where they have instant replay. You'll see the coaches use the challenge a lot on those tip balls, and even on the replays. You're looking for like a pinky that gets bent back or maybe a change in spin on the ball, but it's really tough to see. Good mid-air adjustment by Tori Williamson to get that one down coming from outside. Oh, extreme cross-court angle from the right side there. That one went straight down the line of the net from Lola Nolasco. And the Yellow Jackets, the visitors, lead 6-5.
And the great job from Nolasco is not only allowing her to get that cross-court opportunity, but now it's opening up that line as well. Maybe you're paying more attention to that on the next play.
Yeah, do you adjust your block for Lynchburg? Do you keep doing what you're doing? Those are the questions that the coaches talk about all game long. Thibodeau tried to run down a long pass into the net, couldn't succeed. Randolph-Macon with a 2-point lead, 7-5. Yellow Jackets only led by 2 in set 1, and it was the final scores, 27-25. That was their biggest lead of set 1. And so it was that kind of action. And the second frame shaping up in similar fashion. Keogh coming from the back row, rolls it over to the middle. Little punch there from Wilhelmy. That was nice. Stuffed up front. Lynchburg will reorganize. Tori Williamson got sent back. Play on. Hornets doing well here. Give Randolph-Macon some credit on this rally. Chance to put an end to it. Yeah, not the way the Yellow Jackets wanted. That one into the net. Good job by Lynchburg, just surviving there. Keep the ball alive, get some decent pressure yourself, and eventually you force Randolph-Macon into a mistake.
It was all about persistence, and it felt like Lynchburg was playing on its back foot for most of that play, where you see Randolph-Macon starting to bring out some of their blocking, and then Lynchburg able to sneak one by.
Ashlyn Davis in the game on the front row for Lynchburg. That was Ava Meinhardt that sent a serve into the mesh. Morgan Clark, the libero, back on. Lynchburg's got the setter in the front row right now. It's Kiri Thibodeau. Randolph-Macon leads by 2. Keogh, Thibodeau, to the newly inserted Ashlyn Davis. Davis tried to get a piece of that, went off her hands and down. That's a Randolph-Macon point, and here's now the biggest lead of the night for the Yellow Jackets at 3.
Sometimes with that swing blocking, that's going to be a product of it. Lynchburg trying to move side to side a little too much, and Randolph-Macon, if they can explore that line, they're going to have that opportunity.
Kaylee Keogh had to go way downstairs to get that one. Tori Williamson fell back on the posterior to get it over, and then that one went off her outside arm and out. Back-to-back times, Randolph-Macon has tooled the block there, and it looks like Coach Cardozo wants to take a timeout. Possible defensive adjustment. We'll see. We'll step aside for a quick breather. It's Randolph-Macon 10, Lynchburg 6. Yellow Jackets won set 1, 27-25 on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. It's ODAC Volleyball on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. First conference game for either squad. I think there's 2 other ODAC games tonight, Evan. It's the first home game for Lynchburg. Randolph-Macon actually hasn't played at home yet either. They've been on the road for this first portion of the season.
And interesting enough, both teams have tournaments coming up this weekend at home. You don't always have that luxury, but an opportunity to not only add games to your schedule, but also see some local opponents.
It's a lot of volleyball in a short amount of time for Lynchburg. 5 games in 4 days. Good rally developing here. Yellow Jackets lead by 4. Great job to get that one up by Kiri Thibodeau. Keogh hangs and sends it to the middle. Randolph-Macon reorganizing and scoring. Well placed there in the cross-court corner. Another one hard to defend, and the Yellow Jackets lead 11-6.
Just continuing to pepper every part of this court. We're seeing Randolph-Macon not let the ball get behind them very often. Lynchburg not getting a lot of strong swings on it.
Yeah, Lynchburg's got to get a side out here, as in get the serve back, and they can keep the Randolph-Macon Yellow Jackets on their back foot a little longer. Leah DiNardo seemed like she was out of rhythm there on a swing that went into the net. 12-6. Yellow Jackets by 6, doubling up the Hornets right now. Float serve in there, handled by Kilo. Bump set. Good running one-hander. That one's too strong. Good read. Randolph-Macon asking for a tip or a touch. The officials say no touch, and it's a Lynchburg point. Hornets needed that. They hadn't scored in a while, Evan.
Well, and Randolph-Macon hitting 294 at this stage of the game, so you can tell that they have really used the court to their advantage, but Lynchburg has to go through these holes and crawl when they get the opportunity. Again, it's still just a 5-point deficit, but you do want some of that momentum and confidence back.
Hopefully a long serving run here for Lynchburg would help bring the confidence back. Coach Bill Rogers is asking that no-touch question of our officials. You think about the players and the coaches and the pressure of a game like this with a big crowd. The officials have a little extra pressure too. I mean, they know everybody's looking at them, and they're trying their best to get it right. That can be a weight on the shoulders. Oh, Tori Williamson got stuffed. Jana Leak tried for the cover, but couldn't get the pancake in time.
Well, and you know, if you're the crowd here at Lynchburg and you're officiating this game, you probably want to have them get a red shirt as well. But listen, it's got to keep the integrity of the game, right?
No doubt. Great word, integrity. Tori Williamson will shoot it over. Randolph-Macon, good swing there. Tori Williamson, take two, rejected. The block up front from Randolph-Macon has gotten better. I mean, really, the Yellow Jackets are just playing better every phase of the game right now, and they are, again, doubling up Lynchburg 14-7.
There's just a new sense of energy as well, and you're seeing it on these blocks. They're getting up, they're being in the right spots and beating Lynchburg before that pass can even get there. And you see Hornets still struggling to even get it over the net.
Yeah, it's an ace. Abby Barlow inserted as the libero for Lynchburg in the black jersey, number 6. And you notice Randolph-Macon went right after Barlow. First action in the game. That's a lot of times the serving strategy. Go to the new player. Lynchburg will get set up this time in system. Bree Spainhour shot a fastball up there, but play on. Barlow's going to bump set outside. Spainhour, soft touch, and that's down. That'll bring the energy back into the building. Lynchburg, I don't want to say they'd lost the crowd for a little bit there, Evan, but the Code Red fans had gotten a little bit quiet.
Well, you certainly need to bring something in to get the momentum back. Even a substitution can do that. You talked about Abby Barlow, 46 digs versus Salem and Bob Jones combined earlier this year. You're going to see it a lot more, but she also has that passing ability and setting her teammates up nicely.
Yeah, Barlow is one of those seasoned campaigners. Middle attack, DiNardo stuffed. Lynchburg covers. Kaylee Keough, good hanging roll shot there. Now it's a ripper from Wilhelmi that's down. The transition game from Randolph-Macon, Evan, so good. I mean, they were on defense. It looked like Lynchburg would have a point, and then all of a sudden here comes Wilhelmi flying into a perfect set for a nice one.
And you mentioned it, when she only has to do that in her task, and it's just fire and aim in the right spot, you know she's going to get it more times than not.
Back set to Spainhour, handled nicely. Lynchburg might get a chance to attack again. DiNardo, left-hand tip, that's down right over the block. And again, that's another way you can take the steam out of one of those strong, tough blocking units up front. Have your middles and your outsides just tip a little bit more. DiNardo, perfect placement there. Heady stuff for a freshman as well.
Exactly right. I was just going to say, it doesn't look like a freshman play, especially when you have that energy pin up. You maybe want to fire it.
Tori Williamson moving to her right, through the right arm out, and then that caromed off. 17-9, Lynchburg just can't get any momentum. They're getting some points here and there, but Randolph-Macon won't let the Hornets get on a long serving run. 17-9, I mean, it's a danger zone right here for Lynchburg. And it's a danger zone in this set and the match, because remember, Hornets are down 1-0. Hornets are now down 18-9 in set 2.
You mentioned that Randolph-Macon has yet to see a 5-setter, and think they want to keep it the same way with this one. You know, they have continued to build momentum, 1-6 of the last 7 to get those last 2 wins. And so just continuing to get the energy early.
Barlow will run down an errant first pass. Keough platforms it over. Here comes the Macon attack again. Williamson tight to the net, and Jana Leak got into the net trying to set that one. 19-9, Randolph-Macon by 10. I mean, this is how our game can just become so interesting, and we'll stay here during this timeout. This was back and forth in every sense of the phrase in set 1. You couldn't tell who the better squad was. You couldn't tell who had 19 wins last year and who had 11. And then now you see all of a sudden Randolph-Macon just gets this surge. They keep Lynchburg off the service line. Better blocking, better attacking, and really Randolph-Macon is showing why they are thought of as one of the class teams in the ODAC.
Well, the longer that you unwrinkle the picture, you're going to see everything that this team has to offer, and what Randolph-Macon has done so well is just keeping composure. We talked about what they're hitting, 25 kills now to Lynchburg's 20. So there might not be a lot of numbers that are peeking out at you from the stat sheet, but you understand the Yellow Jackets are just pounding on every opportunity, and it is showing now, up 10.
How about the hitting percentage there? Randolph-Macon's at 279, Lynchburg down to 163. First set, that number was fairly even, but again, like you said, you unwrinkle that picture. Maybe it's the cream rises to the top phrase, one of those. Right now, Randolph-Macon playing like the cream. Let's see if Lynchburg has a response here in set 2. I think a good timeout from Coach Kevin Cardoza. He knows this is an important sequence. Very difficult to drop sets 1 and 2 and then do the reverse sweep, come back and win the next 3. Not impossible, of course, but very difficult.
Well, statistics are certainly more in your favor if you get that second one back. And you can tell, I think Bill Rogers on the other side doesn't have too much to correct. Randolph-Macon has just brought the fire in the second set. They were out there with 30 seconds to spare. We'll see if they keep the energy and the attack moving on.
Let's see if Lynchburg can do a little something to get their crowd back into it. 7th player concept kind of thing here as our official is at the scorer's table. Early in the year for everybody, and a lot of times you have some little scoring snafus, and volleyball is one where you have to keep track of the rotation as well. You got to keep track of the timeouts and the subs, and there's a lot as far as a scorekeeper's duties are concerned. That's why I'm glad we're up here with the headset on and not down there right in the middle of that fire. 19-9, there's a ball that's long. So there's a good start and a good after timeout result for Lynchburg. That's one. Volleyball's a lot like other sports. You look for those after timeout results. How do we do after the timeout? Well, Lynchburg on a little 1-0 run, I guess.
Well, now Thibodeau gets to create this play, and you want to start with the serve. We'll see how well Lynchburg can just make this play top to bottom, what they want to see coming out of the huddle.
Serving tough was part of the success for Lynchburg in set 1, but you have to get the balls in. So maybe your concept changes just a little bit. Single block up front that time from Ava Meinhardt, but it went off her forearm and down on the wrong side. Now it's a 10-point lead again for Randolph-Macon.
Just feels like Lynchburg can't extend these rallies, and that's really what they did. Even from the first play of this game, you saw Lynchburg go back and forth with Randolph-Macon, and now it just feels like the Yellow Jackets are taking the wind out of their sails before they can even get that pass back.
Barlow in the middle to Thibodeau. And then it's Kaylee Keogh. This one's in the rafters, but still in play. Boy, if Wilhelmi gets that over, my goodness, that was close. Give her high marks for trying, but a Lynchburg point, the 11th of the set. They're back within 9. They need a long serving run, though, Evan. You don't have to get all 9 of them back right now, but you'd ideally like Kaylee Keogh to stay on the line there for 5 or 6 points. First serve is pretty good. Kind of a dying knuckleball float, and there's a good block. Roof put on the left side. So how about back-to-back points for Lynchburg? Maybe the run is building.
Well, and if you want anybody serving right now, it is Keogh. You're going to see a little bit of fire from that back line. Lynchburg doing well of just making a very versatile offensive scheme.
Another tough serve from Keogh. This ball is out, well out. It's 3 in a row for Lynchburg. Vibes are coming back. Fans wearing the code red shirts are starting to feel it as well. Even if you don't know volleyball, you know that your team won the point. I mean, you know the basics, and you get into it as a fan. It is a great spectator sport, and the players show so much emotion. Ooh, weird block up front. Meinhardt down. She saw the opening and exploited it 4 in a row. Speaking of emotion, look at how Ava Meinhardt's getting into it down there.
Don't leave the pot on the stovetop because Lynchburg is ready to keep on cooking, and they're only down 6 now. We'll see if Keogh can extend this serving streak.
Let's see if they can get that pot to a boil here. Yellow Jackets looking to side out, get the ball back. Williamson on the run, little punch, handled well in the deep corner. That one's long, touch, no touch. Yeah, Lynchburg got a fingertip on that, unfortunately for them. And it is a chance to serve again for Randolph-Macon. They lead 21-14. It was a 4-point run, though, for Lynchburg, Evan. I mean, I said 5 or 6 would be better, but you'll take the 4.
Anyone you can get at this stage, still 4 points to work with.
Thibodeau will run one down. Williamson stuffed up front. Man, the blocking so strong there for Randolph-Macon. Mia Zazero Very stingy up front there as part of that one. 22-14. Yellow Jackets can sense it now. They're 3 away. Lynchburg will need what we would have to call a furious rally. Meinhardt swinging furiously. That one's down. Yeah, she is heavy-handed right now. I think you got to try to keep feeding Ava Meinhardt. She's got to go to the back row and serve, though.
Another one of those freshmen last year who made an immediate impact, and you're seeing it now with some of this composure. 146 kills in 23. Looking to add a few more. A better time than now.
Oh, that one stayed on the tape for like a full second. Oh, and there's a shot that'll just sneak through and down. Yeah, Ava Meinhardt off for a much-needed break. Jefferson City, Missouri. Lynchburg's got great geography. They got a lot from the Commonwealth of Virginia, but then you go further out to Jefferson City, Missouri with Ava Meinhardt. Hope they're watching there. Lynchburg still going to need that furious rally. 23-15. Williamson, there's a soft touch that finds the floor.
That's a big one as well. Randolph-Macon would have been a point away from set number 2. You go back to that play before as well. The serve from Meinhardt just felt like there was super glue on the net. And one of the situations, maybe it's an ace or an error. Nah, Randolph-Macon kept it alive.
Tough serve from Jana Leek in to do that and set. Kaylee Keogh will get one in the middle. Leek runs it down. Williamson, did that catch the line? It did not. It's out. Another close one. Several of those in set number 1. And now Randolph-Macon within 1 again. Set point 24-16.
Who else than Allison Locke? We saw her in the first set. Now a chance to shut the door on the second.
See how long the Hornets can stay alive. Good pass. Keogh to Leek. DiNardo. That hit the antenna after the block. That's a Lynchburg point. DiNardo and Meinhardt have done great work in the middle for Lynchburg. Tori Williamson to serve. And the Hornets have to get 7 straight to extend this game a little bit. Randolph-Macon won set number 1, 27-25. Lynchburg needs to extend set number 2. Good serve from Williamson to start. Wilhelmi hanging, firing, but too long. And now it's 24-18.
Your eyes can get big in that situation, especially if you're someone like Wilhelmi who knows that she can end the set. And now if you're Tori Williamson, it's just about keeping everything flawless. No errors here.
To the middle, Libero will platform. That one blocked, but out of play. And it's a Randolph-Macon point, 25th of set number 2. And they now all of a sudden, Evan, are looking to go on the road and have a clean sweep of the Lynchburg Hornets. Can the volleyball players from Lakeside Drive respond with a reverse sweep? They'll have to start by winning set number 3. We'll talk that over and more when we return on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network.
Great moments are born from great opportunity. That's what you have here tonight. That's what you've earned here tonight. This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
education is too expensive? Think again. At the University of Lynchburg, you can get a personalized education for the cost of a state school. If you're commuting and you get our top scholarships, you could pay much less. And you get all that without the hassle of giant lecture halls. Our faculty know your name here and do more than just teach. You might even do research together and plan out your next career moves.
Welcome back inside Turner Gymnasium, volleyball fans. My name is Kyle Haney. My partner-in-law, not in crime, my partner-in-law is Evan Gates. And Mr. Gates, we've seen some exciting stuff. Again, the crowd has you could just people watch all night and get lost and not even watch the action on court. Just look at all the students and the other fans. But the action on the court has been very noteworthy and hard to take your eyes off at times. Second set, much better for Randolph-Macon. They showed why they've got 13 of their last 15 years have been 20-plus wins, 20 or more. And it was 19 wins last year for Randolph-Macon. When 19 wins is a down year for you, that tells you something about your volleyball program.
It's so impressive. They've competed in 8 of the past 9 ODAC title games. That tells you something not just about the Women in Black, but also about Coach Bill Rogers. But what they're doing so well, as we talked about throughout the break, you see the ball really just slows down on their side of the court, and it's a result of good blocking, and they have really used passing to their advantage, whereas Lynchburg, who's targeting that back line, hasn't been able to get velocity.
You and I were talking about blocking a lot, and we were sort of remarking, wow, it doesn't look like Randolph-Macon has that many blocks, but they get those positive block touches. They slow those balls down, makes it easier for the defensive specialist and the libero to run it down and get back into the offensive transition. And it's, so sometimes you look at that opponent hitting percentage rather than just total blocks. And Randolph-Macon pretty good in that category, although they've certainly had some blocks tonight that have resulted in points too. It's really, again, you can't really talk about any part of Randolph-Macon's game and say that it's been bad tonight, especially in the second set.
Absolutely, and you think about what Lynchburg has been able to do in that first set, and it just started with almost staying ahead in this game. And Lynchburg's serves were so much cleaner. Now you're just seeing Randolph-Macon in the driver's seat where they have those funnel through, and guess who's on the other end? It's the Wilhelmies and the Locks who are just getting it done because their job is facilitated that much more.
Well, as we get started here in set 3, I know you and I are both pretty new to Coach Kevin Cardoza and his staff, but what do you think the message was in the locker room there in between sets 2 and 3?
Well, I think you understand you're on a really tough part of your schedule. You lost the last 2. You're trying to come back. It's got to be, hey, this is Code Red. It doesn't matter what happens in those first two. This crowd is still on your side, and they're here for the night.
Good start in the middle for Lynchburg. Leah DiNardo, high octane for point number 1. Yeah, and I would assume back to some of those things that we might call cliches, but you do have to try to take it 1 point at a time if you're Lynchburg, don't you?
Well, you think about what Lynchburg has done in previous games as well. We saw that 5-setter last year versus Washington and Lee. You just understand you have the personnel to do it, and you're talking before this game about how you can hang with Randolph-Macon. It just has to start with these little runs. They're doing it early in the third.
Kaylee Keough floating into one, and then a perfect placement to give Lynchburg a 2-0 lead. Tori Williamson serving. Abby Barlow on as the libero right now. Jane Alik, the setter. In the front row, you've got, I believe, Bree Spainhour, Leah DiNardo, and Kaylee Keough. There's a pass that was very close to the mesh. Yanked out of there by Randolph-Macon nicely. Spainhour gets a good swing off. And Randolph-Macon couldn't get anything going as Millie Mock fired one into the net.
What's so impressive about Randolph-Macon, too, front line or back, it feels like even if the pass isn't in the perfect position, they're getting so much power behind those shots, and you're seeing a few hits that Lynchburg is still struggling with. That one, they get the point.
Great note about Millie Mock, who had a bump set there. Oh, 4 in a row for Lynchburg. Coach Bill Rogers kind of ambling to the court, not going to take a timeout, but sharing a few words with his team. Millie Mock, by the way, former ODAC Rookie of the Year. She's a setter, but she's got multiple kills this season. We've seen her take some swings. She's got multiple kills in every game this season, I should see. So we've seen Mock take some swings. I mean, she really can do a little bit of everything. She'll set up a big hit that time.
She's not shy on the stat sheet. I think there are many players on this Randolph-Macon squad who are formidable in many positions. We talk about consistency in your starting lineups as well. Both teams had 5 players coming into this one who have started every contest, and while it's early in the season, you still see they're doing a little bit of everything.
Great stat there. DiNardo couldn't come flying into a short set from Jane Alik, and it's 3 in a row now for Randolph-Macon. Scoreboard still says 4-2. Am I wrong? Did I screw that up? Is it 4-2?
It is 4-2 now.
Okay. It's early in the year for the broadcasters as well. Yeah, just make sure you don't let me say that in November. Wilhelmi flying. Good stingy block up front for Lynchburg. It's on the other side now to Mock. Mentioned she would take swings as a setter. She did there. Looked like a foot crossed the line up front. Yeah, I think I saw it from number 3, Mia Zazzaro. Right foot was just too far over there, and the officials called it. Lynchburg leading 5-2.
See, we were right about the score not being 4-2. Just had to wait about 20 seconds. But
yeah.
I'll tell you one thing. Lynchburg is taking every call that they can get. And, again, those longer rallies, it feels like they're playing to Lynchburg's favor because they are doing so well from a passing standpoint. Just got to keep the ball inside the lines.
Great serve from Abby Barlow. That was wobbling and knuckling. And the back row defenders for Randolph-Macon couldn't fend it off. They'll make a little alignment adjustment. You could see the 4 in the back row telling each other, hey, let's slide up just a little bit. That one fielded properly. Here's Wilhelmi. Oh, look at Tori Williamson shoveling one up. Bree Spainhour hit hard into the rafters and then eventually out of play, but gives Bree Spainhour the credit right there when she gets it lined up, Evan. She's as dangerous as anybody for Lynchburg.
Well, the Hornets had a great opportunity there. We saw Wilhelmi really get set up nicely on the other end, but what Lynchburg did was just stay one step ahead. And again, if they get it to Spainhour or one of those frontline players for Lynchburg, they're going to take advantage.
Barlow tried to go down the line on the right side, and that was wide, 7-3. Randolph-Macon within 4. This is Mia Zazzaro serving. Came into the game with 14 service aces to just 7 errors. So she's a talent and a weapon back there, and you saw it right there. Give her another ace. She'll stay out there as Randolph-Macon has clawed to within 3.
Just dropped it right in the breadbasket, exactly where you want it. And it seems like this is pretty oddly reminiscent of that first set as well. Lynchburg goes up early, all the energy and momentum. Well, they have to stay ahead, and we see Randolph-Macon does well with just looking at it one play at a time. Zero, another ace.
Back to back, dealing them right out of the deck. She'd like to go for trips right here. 7-5. Lynchburg still leading, but by 2. And I think you nailed it. Oddly reminiscent of set number 1. This one handled by Lynchburg. Spainauer will line up another one, and she'll power right through the block for one more. Lynchburg back on top by 3, 8-5 in set 3.
Spainauer leading the Hornets in kills now, and it's so sneakily that she does so. And it just feels like these plays continue to find her hands, and when she's in the right spot, it's set up by that back line. Lynchburg has done well to set her up.
Sometimes you don't want to be predictable. Sometimes you want to feed the hot hand. Let's see what Lynchburg chooses to do if they get a chance to do so. How about Barlow? Great gardening there to shovel that one up, and then thrown cross court by Ava Meinhardt. That is outstanding stuff from Lynchburg. That's one to remember. That's one you put on your film right there, and you show that again. You say, okay, team, this is what we're capable of. Oh, no. Oh, the point went to Randolph-Macon. I think it was Meinhardt in the net, maybe.
I think
maybe
so,
on the touch. I mean, I described it as a throw, Evan. She may have had the hand on the ball too long for the officials.
This play is so close to determine, but Lynchburg has to just come right back.
That one blocked out of play, and it'll be a Lynchburg point. 9-6, Hornets on top by 3. Just going back to the previous one, you didn't see Kevin Cardoza talking to the ref on that one, so that tells you a lot. That tells you the officials probably got the call right. Tough serve from Kaylee Keogh. She'll deal an ace out of the pack. 10-6, Lynchburg by 4.
The options on display for Lynchburg, we've seen it around the table. You got Keogh, you got Barlow, everybody joining in on the meal. We'll just see what they can do now. Different look this time.
Wilhelmi, right side, stuffed. Play on. Oh, and that one twinkles the twine and then down to the hardwood for a Yellow Jacket point.
That's just a tough play if you're Lynchburg. You saw the blockers isolated. First one from Meinhardt still stays in the play, but Ashlyn Davis just can't do it on the other side of the court. I think if you're Randolph-Macon, you want to only have one option to get past. We see some of that power on display.
Tori Williamson will take 1 and 3 there. It's a 3-point Lynchburg lead. That's a shot, no problem for Keogh. Thibodeau flying in. Williamson flying up and down for a big-time point for Lynchburg. Another good sequence there. Transition, defense to offense. Lynchburg did it a couple times.
And the Hornets do well, just showing exactly what they want to do and sticking with it. Williamson's momentum had her going backwards, but she gets right up and just still sneaks it on over.
Yeah, she moves so well out there. Really light on her feet, change of direction. And then the hops, too. That one's out. Good read from Ava Meinhardt. Lynchburg on top, 12-7. So again, reminiscent of set 1 in a lot of ways. The change for Lynchburg has to be to close out this time if they want to extend the match. Hornets down 2-0. Tough serve there from Meinhardt. Jump serve. Enjoyed that. Kaylee Keogh up to Thibodeau. They'll set the middle. DiNardo roofed straight down. Lynchburg's tried to use the middle attack from time to time with varying degrees of success. That time, it brought Randolph-Macon back within 4.
We saw a strong play there from the freshman Ella Courtney. We haven't mentioned her name much yet, but she has started every game for Randolph-Macon, and when you're as immediate of a contributor as she has been, it just continues to build the trust from this coaching staff, especially in September.
That'll be an illegal touch. That one was more of a throw there as well, I think, and it'll be a point for Lynchburg. Changes coming on for the Hornets. Jana Leak to serve and set. Bree Spainauer back in. Spainauer's had some highlight reel stuff here in set 3. Let's see if they go to her with regularity or possibly a change in the offensive attack. Tough serve from Leak. Wilhelmi fends it off. Here comes the shot. Barlow there. Leak gonna set DiNardo. Middle again. That time she got through the block. Power on display from the freshman Leah DiNardo, Virginia Beach, Virginia. Got a season high of 9 kills this year. That was back on August 30th. But really, you mentioned a player to watch. Timeout taken by Bill Rogers and Randolph-Macon. Let's just keep it here again as we admire the sheer beauty of the moment with this massive crowd in the house tonight. Evan, You'd love to get a crowd like this all the time, and maybe that's not realistic, but I'll put the plea out there to the fans. We got to see this crowd more often. Maybe please, a bit of a strong word. We'll encourage more fan participation like this.
Well, and any time you can incentivize it, it does help. You have the whole environment from Lynchburg, the community. Every sports team, if you're unfamiliar with the Code Red events, every sports team does come out to watch, and obviously you have coaches in attendance, players, grad assistants, the former players, everybody out in the crowd. But what has been so much fun is the fact that it is the third set. It seems like everybody still in attendance. You're not guaranteed that there's going to be a set that comes down to 2 points either, and that first one, it just felt like was worth the price of admission. It is free in Turner Gymnasium, but
right.
For the point, we'll keep it.
The emotional and the time investment that you have to make to come to a volleyball game, well worth that. And like I said, a lot of fans, maybe you don't watch a lot of volleyball growing up, so I think sometimes when fans see the game in person or on LHSN, they're kind of wowed by the athleticism and the emotion on display. It really is, I think, so much fun as a spectator. Selfishly, I'm thrilled that we get to broadcast together too. We're going to be doing more games together this year, other sports. Back to volleyball though, after the timeout. Lynchburg leading 14-8. Here's Tori Williamson again. That was hit well. Still alive. A player on the Randolph-Macon bench that has crutches had to scramble out of the way as it looked like the redirect was coming in her direction. It ends up falling to the floor for a Lynchburg point. But again, you just don't get that in many other sports, do you?
No, you do not. They played hide and seek for a good few seconds. You see the baseball team on the other side doing everything they can to keep the defensive scramble alive.
Oh, that's a good firm hack right there from Ella Courtney. She elevated well, set was perfect, and she got an absolute mittful. 15-9, Lynchburg by 6.
Those are the plays that separate good teams from great, when you can come back and stay on a dime. This is what Bill Rogers has preached to his squads. That's why they get to ODAC title games. They can change it in a hurry.
Off-target pass will be another Randolph-Macon point. You're right, though, Evan. I mean, a guy that's been at this for 23 years like Bill Rogers, he still seems to have that fire. He's still very sharp. Obviously, he has the players' attention, and they seem to respond. Another great serve. Here comes another long run. Back-to-back aces for Randolph-Macon. We've seen this a few times. This is Caitlin Kaplan that is really performing nicely at the service line now. Let's see if Lynchburg can adjust. This one easier to handle. Lynchburg in system. That got a piece of a blocker. Yeah, that's a Hornet point.
That's what you want to see from Lynchburg, going down the line, tool the block, and there's been opportunities left and right when you see Tori Williamson, someone who can really pull back and fire. You want that window to be open.
She has a lot of windows open just because of her skill set. She can do so many things. 16-11, Lynchburg by 5. Leak, high ball to Keogh. Picked up, but a mishandle. Oh, action in the net. They're going to say Randolph-Macon was in the net on the block. 17-11. Hornets on top by 6.
This is that spot in the game. I know we've already mentioned it. It just feels like there isn't a lot of urgency you need now. You're up 6, but this is where the game can change in a hurry.
Yeah, agreed. If you're Lynchburg, you got to stay on the accelerator here. I know you're playing hard every point, but got to have ultra focus. This one just in front of Abby Barlow. You could tell she was slightly disappointed. Felt like she should have ran through that one. Dug it off the ground. 17-12. But yeah, if you're Lynchburg, just got to stay so sharp right here. Can't give any points away. Barlow that time sliding into it. Wow, that one was too wide for Bree Spainhour. She got her right hand on it, but the ball hit the antenna. That's a no-no and a Randolph-Macon point.
So much misdirection. You see Randolph-Macon using every inch of the court and really just exploiting everybody on this Lynchburg defense. You're not keying in on one or two players, and that forces everybody to get out of position.
That's exactly right. As a server, you can target or you can try to spread it around. Great job by Jana Leak to fly in with one hand to keep that one alive. Free ball for Randolph-Macon. Barlow has it. Leak better set this time. Kaylee Keogh, that got over. Lynchburg's going to reorganize. This one punched by Jana Leak. Now it's Randolph-Macon's turn to attack. Wilhelmi will oblige and take a ripper Good exchange, good rally there. Nice stuff from both sides, but again, the Yellow Jackets come out on top of it.
Good night when Kylie Wilhelmi gets in her spot. The transfer from Birmingham Southern just feels like every opportunity she has, she's ready to fire, trying to get Randolph-Macon back in the third.
Timeout on the court with Lynchburg leading 17-14. Randolph-Macon leads 2 sets to none. Lynchburg trying to do what they call the reverse sweep, come back and win the last 3 instead of the first 3. Randolph-Macon, of course, is going for the sweep. They've done that a few times this season. Yeah, 3-0 in 3-setters this year for Randolph-Macon. You know, we knew that this was a team that was playing better, Evan. Their last game out, they had season highs in kills, attack percentage, assists, aces, really everything was season highs last time out for Randolph-Macon. We'll see if they're closing in on any team season highs tonight. But Lynchburg, again, I think they've got a shot. You'd always rather be the team that's leading by 2 sets, but I like this fight back from Lynchburg here in set 3.
Well, it's tough to really have a comparison this early in the season as well. You know, what is this group all about? Can they go into a 4th set and still have confidence? We've talked about the number of juniors on this squad, upperclassmen, who can really build confidence around one another, but it does have to start now, and the Yellow Jackets still with the serve.
Just looking at some of the statistics, Tori Williamson leads Lynchburg in kills with 10. Bree Spainhour not far behind with 9. Spainhour could tie that mark right here, and she will. Double-digit kills for Bree Spainhour, the 2-way star, rising to the occasion, and Lynchburg gets a much-needed point. Another good after-timeout result there for Kevin Cardoza and his Lynchburg coaching staff.
You're thinking about games down the road. Who are you drawing up some of those sets for? You don't always get the opportunity to come out of a timeout like that with the serve, but a great job from Lynchburg to find Spainhour.
Tough serve. It'll lead to a free ball for Lynchburg. Let's see where they go. Right side, Spainhour banging it home. She's got 11 now. That was perfect volleyball. The tough serve forces the Yellow Jackets to give you a free ball. Then you get a chance to run your in-system attack and feed that hot hand. What a third set for Bree Spainhour. Barlow, again, fastball down the middle. Wilhelmi, she'll rise and fire. Leak's going to have to run one down. Kaylee Keough, patented little floating tip shot. Two-handed push to the back line. Good rally developing right here. Spainhour wants another one. She'll get another one.
That is impressive stuff from Bree Spainhour. Number 12 showing us what she's all about. And again, you show them the playbook at first. You're going to throw down a few hard hits. Then you can just tip it over and keep the variety open and alive.
So true. She's reading the defense there, reading the block, and then seeing the open space. Here's a middle one from Wilhelmi. Man, Barlow did well just to get leather, just to get some skin on that, but it caromed into the third row for a Randolph-Macon point. Kylie Wilhelmi, she's got one of the higher velocity swings that you're going to see. She's got a $1 million right arm out there.
That's the reason that Randolph-Macon relies on her time and time again, especially in these big spots.
2015, Lynchburg by 5. They win the race to 20 again. They did that in set number 1. Oh, and then Wilhelmi showing the class. She said, okay, I gave you the fastball a couple times in a row. Now you can see my tip shot too. And that's down. It gets Randolph-Macon within 4.
Coming into this one, she was already just a few shy of 100 in the kills column. She's reached it today.
Cesaro with a tough serve. Lynchburg will get in system. Bree Spainhour sent back that time. Take 2, maybe. She'll have to free ball bump set that back. Cross court to Wilhelmi. That was off target, had to adjust. Leak to Kaylee Keough to the middle. Defended well, Wilhelmi. Great swing, but Jana Leak, just a confident dig right there. Back and forth. Oh, and that one finds the corner. My goodness, so just in the last few points for Wilhelmi, we've seen the high velocity, high gas, we've seen the tip, and then we saw one where she picked out an open spot on the floor.
How do you defend that is the question, and these rallies are getting a little more awkward with some of the passes that we're seeing, but Randolph-Macon is just taking advantage because the window, as we've said, has just stayed open.
Randolph-Macon is within 2 again, Evan, 20-18. Tori Williamson 50-50 ball in, out. She let it go. It was in. Mia Zazero was locked in. She didn't realize there was a loose ball just kind of rolling by her right foot.
If you're Randolph-Macon here, too, you're just 7 points away from being done with the match. And you understand you're trying to get there in a hurry.
Yeah, they are inching closer to the broom closet, 20-19. Lynchburg will take another timeout. Let's step aside, catch our breath for this one because we're coming down to a furious finish. Lynchburg leading by 1 in set 3. They're down 2-0 against Randolph-Macon. It's ODAC Volleyball on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. Set 3 action between Lynchburg and Randolph-Macon. The Hornets now clinging to a 1-point lead. Another timeout from Kevin Cardoza. They seem to have all been really well placed for Lynchburg tonight. Good results after the timeouts, but the Hornets are down 2-0. They'll keep this one alive. Barlow, free ball to Zazero. Middle attack. This is still alive, but Lynchburg can't get to it. Great effort play there by the Hornets, but it's another Randolph-Macon point. And we are tied 20 apiece.
You love the hustle there, but it's not going to get much excitement or engagement from the coaching staff because you understand it has to start right now. And Lynchburg, some of these passes just getting a little lazy.
Set 1, we had a lot of late ties. We were tied at 23, 24, 25. We're not tied anymore in set 3. Lynchburg back on top, 21-20.
It's as big of a point as you're going to have in this third set, but now with the serve on your side, if you're the Hornets, you can't wait again because you know that that is going to come right back at you from Randolph-Macon. They've had a few streaks of their own.
Kiri Thibodeau into set and serve. Thibodeau is a 5'8" junior from Lorton, Virginia. That was a heater, and that's an ace. Kiri Thibodeau stepping up. She's not feeling any pressure. If she does, it's making the serve come out with a few more MPH. That was stung.
All about one play at a time. We saw a few iffy serves earlier, and then the big moment, she's coming through just 3 points away for Lynchburg.
Thibodeau's got the right hand up, ready to go again. I mean, that's one of the faster serves you'll see without a jump or a high spin throw to set it up. Barlow will get it to Thibodeau. This is Kaylee Keogh. Woo, a little backhand knock right there. That was fun. Keogh's going to try again. Picked up. Randolph-Macon, Wilhelmi from the back row. Blocked and roofed, and Lynchburg leads by 3. They're 2 away from taking set 3.
Starting to heat up just a little bit more. Wilhelmi wanted that opportunity. She gets it, unable to connect, and Lynchburg now just a pair away from maybe extending this game, maybe just a chance to keep the energy alive on Code Red Night.
You keep the crowd in the gym a little bit longer. You give them some more volleyball to watch. Everybody's happy to be back on campus, happy to be seeing some sports. So yeah, if you could all of a sudden take this set, you feel like Lynchburg would have some momentum. And then, Evan, if you win set 4, now it doesn't matter that you lost the first 2 sets because it's first to 15 at that point. Of course, you still have to win by 2 in a would-be hypothetical set 5. But I hope you're getting my point, just that if Lynchburg can take care of business here in set 3, then I really think it's game on and the Hornets have a legitimate shot.
That's exactly right. And it's easy to change the coaching strategy or the game plan once. To change it twice and try to be successful is so much more difficult. That's why when you see these fifth sets, a lot of the times these teams are going to run the table and fire back with 3 more to take it. So for Lynchburg, just to have a set at a time, again, if you get this energy and momentum back for the 4th, it's anybody's ball game.
Back to the previous play there. Number 10 for Randolph-Macon, Ella Courtney. Did you see she hit it with the back of her hand?
That's
I mean,
right.
Again, I love this sport. You just see you may never see that again, or you might not see it again for another couple seasons, but you just never know. It's just so much fun.
Almost worked, too.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm wondering maybe should more people be using that? Tough serve again for Lynchburg. And a chance to get in system and score here. Ava Meinhardt trying to go over the top of the defense. Second chance try. Thibodeau gonna set Kaylee Keough. She had to hang for that one, got it over. Good scramble right here. Lynchburg net joust that they will win. Ava Meinhardt, tall wall up front. Lynchburg's within 1 point. Crowd can feel it. Hope you can too.
Just turned into a little game of operation, not touching the net, and Lynchburg evades trouble. Now a chance to seal set number 3.
Fantastic reference. I'm stealing that. 24-20, Kiri Thibodeau. Strong serve since she's been at the line. This one will go out. Don't hate it. Don't hate it right there. You try to pick out a line, take a chance. You've obviously got Randolph-Macon under some pressure. Now you give the serve back, and it's a good one. Millie Mock to do it for Randolph-Macon. 24-21. Listen to that crowd. You might just lay out here and let the crowd tell the story on this play. Might end up just saying wow at some point here, Evan.
Energy all over.
Oh, what a dig. What a dig to get under that one. Barlow took a swing and it went into the net. Randolph-Macon's within 2. 24-22, remember, got to win by 2.
Hands on heads after that one. It just felt like a pass away from maybe keeping it in, but listen to the course.
This is so much fun. This is what we thought it would be, and then some. Serve, long, Lynchburg wins set 3. You gotta say the crowd helped out there, Evan. I mean, you just really have to think it helped some.
If you keep on rolling, you let the ball roll out, and Lynchburg's right back in this one, Mr. Haney.
Fantastic read there and a fantastic set. Lynchburg wins set 3, 25-22. We're going to set 4. Don't you go anywhere. ODAC Volleyball and Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network.
Every great college has a great city. For Lynchburg, we are near urban areas with lots of restaurants, shopping, and events. Plus, we are one of the top schools in the area. Come see for yourself.
A lot of people go to the universities to find something to be a part of while getting their education. And when you come here, Lynchburg is that something, it becomes a family. It's what this school's really good at doing.
Virginia Farm Bureau made our local farmers a promise to protect and preserve the way of life they work so hard to establish. Today, our insurance agents work to protect all Virginians, not just farmers. But the original promise remains. And when you have insurance with Virginia Farm Bureau, you're an important part of upholding it. So help keep Virginia, Virginia. Talk to your local Farm Bureau insurance agent today.
My name is Brittany Coleman. I graduated in 2014, and I have a major in chemistry and a minor in secondary education. And I'm currently teaching chemistry and 7th grade science at a local combined school. Being able to have access to your professors pretty much anytime they're in their office is really helpful, especially in difficult science subjects. I love that I am able to teach a difficult subject to students who typically aren't going to perceive it as enjoyable. I'm able to present it in an interesting way because I was presented this information in an interesting way. It's nice for me to be able to mirror what it was that influenced me to be able to teach.
have made it to a set 4 here inside Turner Gymnasium on the campus of the University of Lynchburg. Kyle and Evan, and what, I don't know, a couple thousand of our closest friends, maybe we'll say 1,000, just to be a conservative estimate, I guess.
That's right. Well, listen, you heard them at the end of that third set, and there was just no stopping. The energy's still alive and thriving here in Lakeside Drive, but for the Hornets now, you understand you're right back in this game, and it just shows some of that character development. You have the staff to do so, but it's got to start again right from the first point in this fourth set.
Exactly. That's a tricky thing for a coach. You want your team to feel good about the previous set, but you know, hey, we've got more work to do. We're still down 2-1. Randolph-Macon right now, I think their locker room talk was probably pretty quick. I think the Lynchburg team right now, how can you use the momentum from the previous set but stay focused? And that's not easy to do in a 1-25 situation. Jana Leak will float one long, so first point of set 4 goes to the Randolph-Macon Yellow Jackets. Stats, you know, we've been throwing a bunch of them out, Evan, but you and I both noticed the attack percentage, the hitting percentage was way down for Randolph-Macon in set 3, just 108. Lynchburg was swinging it at 270 in that victory of the third set. That player right there, Bree Spainhour, was a big part of it. She caught fire in set 3. Lynchburg would like to throw some gasoline on that fire. That one was hot and heavy from Bree Spainhour.
Well, it just shows, too, from that third set, a lot of these points that Randolph-Macon is relinquishing, and they're coming because they're just not hitting the right spots. And Lynchburg is putting the pressure on, whereas, you know, the Hornets are starting to use some of these softer shots and really take advantage.
Blocked up front, slowed down. Bump set from DiNardo that was across the line, and then Abby Barlow sort of slipped across the line. 2-1, Randolph-Macon on top. Lynchburg's got Leah DiNardo, Bree Spainhour, and now Jana Leak up front. Tori Williamson, Abby Barlow as the libero, and Kaylee Keogh, the 3 in the back right now for the Hornets. And you see Williamson and Keogh never really come off unless they need a break. You and I had talked about that. Good read on the serve identification to let it go long by Barlow. But Kaylee Keogh and Tori Williamson are the 6 rotation players, Evan. They're going to stay out there, and that's their true value. They can be up front, they can be in the back, they can defend, they can attack, and they can serve too. Here's Kylie Wilhelmi. There's another one that's perfectly placed. She has impressed this season, and she has impressed tonight. Number 1, Kylie Wilhelmi for Randolph-Macon.
Well, going back to Williamson and Keogh as well, I think what's been so impressive is the fact that they stay composed, whether it's the first point or the last in the game. And you can't preach that as a coach. It just has to start in practice. Some of that dedication, you're going to see it all season long.
Bree Spainhour got good wood on that one. Lynchburg will attack again. Ava Meinhardt just over the top, well placed and down. Ava Meinhardt's been really solid tonight as well. Number 16, the sophomore from Jefferson City, Missouri.
Kept it right close to the net, too. Meinhardt has been doing so well with her size. You know, sometimes you have players who aren't taller, but you don't necessarily know how to employ it. She is doing well by the net, those front row players who are just continuing to come up big in the big moments.
Speaking of the front, number 3, Ashlyn Davis back in. Setter Mock will run one down for Randolph-Macon. Davis had to adjust. Tip shot. Lynchburg will get a chance to swing again. It's a big one, and it's perfect from Kaylee Keogh. Number 17 cleared for takeoff again, and Lynchburg takes the lead, 4-3.
That's what we're talking about when you're getting everybody involved. If you're Lynchburg, this offense is so democratic, and you see it with Keogh on the other side. She's not afraid to swing it and gets a very nice kill in the corner.
Top 10 in the ODAC last year in points per set as a sophomore, Kaylee Keogh. And she's a 2-sport star as well. She's a beach player, too. You don't necessarily think about that the same way you do Bree Spainhour playing basketball, but it is a different sport. It's a different season. It's another commitment. And Kaylee Keogh is one that's good on the sand or the hardwood.
Well, and what's so cool is that a few years ago, Lynchburg didn't have that beach volleyball team, but for Keogh, it's not necessarily a new thing because it has been here since she started playing. Lynchburg just trying to build a brand as well.
Yeah, she's kind of building that program. Tori Williamson is another one. Landon Spots also playing indoor and outdoor. It's a 5-4 Lynchburg lead after after a serve was too low. Wilhelmi will bat one across. Lynchburg, of course, in the home reds. Randolph-Macon in the black and lemon, and that one gets in front of a sliding Kylie Wilhelmi. Lynchburg up by 2, 6-4.
That's great communication from Lynchburg as well, because sometimes you're looking down the line and you want to put more velocity on it. And a great job just to soften the touch, put it in the right spot.
Kaylee Keough, good job to field that one. Free ball from Meinhardt. Good rhythm attack right there on the right side for Randolph-Macon. That's what you're looking for, and they have trimmed the deficit to 1, 6-5.
Nolasco comes out of nowhere for that kill, and it's just, again, the fact that Randolph-Macon has done so well with setting their attackers up throughout this game, and we're going to see these hits. The rallies that go longer are looking more in favor of Lynchburg, but Randolph-Macon, just the quick hitters, really helped them out.
I think you're right. That one blocked, but came down on the Lynchburg side. But you're right. We've had the focus on Wilhelmi and Locke quite a bit for Randolph-Macon. Probably haven't given their other pin hitters quite enough credit. They can do some damage of their own, and as you've pointed out a couple times, when the defense has to key on Wilhelmi, it does seem to free up the other options a bit. That's a serve that's too low for Randolph-Macon. We've seen both teams, I don't want to say struggle in the serving game, Evan, because we know they're trying to serve aggressive and tough, but we've seen maybe a few more balls go into the mesh than maybe we're used to.
Absolutely, and that's what might separate this 4th or 5th set.
Jump serve from Meinhardt set up something nice, but now Randolph-Macon will rebuild and get in system. That ball went off the outside arm of the Lynchburg block, and it's a tie game all of a sudden, 7-7. We were tied up at 20 in set 3, but then Lynchburg played really good thereafter to take set 3. Randolph-Macon, if you joined us late, won sets 1 and 2. 27-25 in set number 1. It was a more convincing victory in set 2 for Randolph-Macon, but right now it feels very much like back and forth volleyball, still anybody's game.
What's turning into Christmas morning for Lynchburg, because Randolph-Macon really just gifting these opportunities, especially the service errors. And if you're the Hornets, you just have to stay in this. You're going to have opportunities like that.
Return to sender by a stingy Lynchburg block again, 9-7, Hornets by 2. Yeah, maybe we should be keeping a closer eye on the service error numbers. Our stats say 6 serving errors for Randolph-Macon. It feels more than that. Lynchburg's listed with 10. Oh, there's a nice one. How about Bree Spainauer getting that one up, laying out, sacrificing the body. Good shot that Abby Barlow will weather a storm on. Tori Williamson to swing. Keep an eye on this rally here. Where does this end? Jana Leak gets a piece of that. Barlow and Spainauer got together. Williamson, another good rip. This is an overpass that Leah DiNardo says, thank you very much. I'll hammer right back down. What a rally, what a sequence. That's a heart and soul, guts kind of stuff for Lynchburg on that exchange, Evan.
Go ahead and break on in if you're the Hornets. It was tied up at 7, a 3-piece to send Lynchburg into the lead, trying to keep it convincingly here in the 4th, and might we see a 5th on the way.
60-second breather for us to compose ourselves. Lynchburg leading 10-7 in set 4 on LHSN.
I chose to play softball at the University of Lynchburg because I came to friendlies and camps, and the team and the coaches were so welcoming, and after that.
It's a crazy drain. It's a crazy train, and maybe a crazy dream too, inside the Lynchburg gym right now. our producer, director, Ethan Morotsky. He's got a method to the madness, more madness up front for Lynchburg as they get another block en route. Leah DiNardo, a big part in the middle there for Lynchburg, doing great things right now.
See, I'd feel pretty bad if I was a volleyball meteorologist because you can't really predict the eruptions and when they're coming. Lynchburg has just been in spots where it feels like they really don't have any of that momentum and fight, and they create it for themselves, starting with not making errors and keeping it clean, but now Randolph-Macon trying to serve their way back in.
11-8, Lynchburg leading. Yellow Jackets to serve after Jana Leak sent one long. Tori Williamson, man, the run up there was perfect. She took flight, and Lynchburg leads by 4 again.
Another example of how Lynchburg uses this line, and they have been targeting the back line of Randolph-Macon throughout this game, but you just see these rallies that extend out. You're seeing the composure from Lynchburg, and I'm not saying they didn't have it last year, but some of this experience, especially from players like Tori Williamson who's serving, it has been so impressive to see that confidence.
12-8, Lynchburg by 4. Wilhelmi will send one long. Yes, it was an early call by me, but you could just kind of see it float off her right hand. Lynchburg on top, 13-8, a rare miss from Kylie Wilhelmi.
Kyle, we talked at the beginning of this game how Lynchburg has really struggled in the matchups against the top teams in the conference. It really just feels like they're going toe-to-toe now, maybe a chance for something special.
Leak wants to give it to DiNardo in the middle. Forceful, but handled. There's a block. Randolph-Macon's going to try to cover and rebuild. Another stuff. Lynchburg's putting up a wall up front. They'll do it again. Action at the net. Lynchburg is just closing down the scoring avenues up front. Randolph-Macon needs another timeout. We got to stay here. This one, Hornets on top, 14-8. ODAC game number 1. Not only would it just be a massive win for Lynchburg in every other conventional way, it would send a message to the rest of the league, wouldn't it, Evan?
Well, a 5-setter would certainly have an exclamation mark or 2 beside it. Now, you do have to put in the legwork now, but up 6, you can start feeling pretty confident. I don't think that Coach Cardozo is talking about a 5th set in the huddle right now. But for the Hornets, it does have to start with just keeping consistent. They found the answers. It's not like that second set where it feels like they were just locked out the entire time. The Hornets just have to hold pace.
That's where those master coaches, Evan, are so good in the timeout huddle, because they'll say something like, yeah, I can feel it, you can feel it too, we know we're in this, but let's make sure we stay focused and play one ball at a time, one rally at a time. Don't start thinking about a 5th set now. Like, I think some coaches will just never acknowledge that that thought exists, right? You know, as a coach, you're thinking that too.
Absolutely.
You're thinking, hey, let's just get to a 5th set. But again, back to those masters, they'll kind of put that aside and say, let's refocus, make sure we hit our keys here. What do we want to do concept-wise on the serve? First off, from Tori Williamson, and then thereafter. Lynchburg has been really good so far. In set number 4, they do still trail 2 sets to 1. A little bit of miscommunication on the offense from Randolph-Macon. Kaylee Keough will take advantage. Coming in from the outside, flight 17 cleared for takeoff again.
Hello and goodbye. No turbulence necessary, and Keough has been all over the place today. You're seeing some of these front line hits turn it into kills, and what has been so impressive is, again, this whole front line staying active.
It really has started with the blocking up front. This one's going to be close. Battle at the net. Going to be a Randolph-Macon point. It was one of those, what they call the net joust there on a pass that was almost over, but right at the top, the apex. 15-9, Lynchburg by 6. Back to Kaylee Keough for a second. Speaking of takeovers, remember, she had a takeover in this gym, 26 kills against Guilford. That is second all-time in single-game history for Lynchburg. 29 is the record. That might be in her reach at some point in her career. 15-10 as that one goes long, and Lynchburg still leading by 5. Can't lose the momentum here if you're the Hornets, though, huh?
No, you can't, and it is still a 5-point cushion, but back to that point, about the 26 kills. That's something that certainly keeps you solidified in the record book. But I think when you look at these career numbers, so many players on this team capable of at least making a dent in those top 10 lists. You got Kaylee Keough. I think she's a pretty good candidate.
That was some sharp cheddar from Kaylee Keough. It's wild, Evan. Back to the offensive options. We saw Bree Spainhour have a third set to remember. Now it looks like it's the Kaylee Keough set as she's coming alive, catching fire. Middles have been really good, including Ava Meinhardt and Leah DiNardo. It's a fun team. It is a lot of talent on this squad. Is it going to be enough here against Randolph-Macon, who is as talented in their own right, in anybody's right? Jana Leak on her bike to try to get that one and ends up in row number 10 near us. Great hustle, though. 16-11. Lynchburg still on top by 5.
It's just contagious, Kyle. If you're on Lynchburg's bench and you're seeing plays like this, you're understanding, yes, there's a pretty big buy-in. You want to win this game, but you're seeing the nth percent of effort come out for the Hornets, and it is really translating into the crowd.
Yeah, crowd coming alive again, getting behind their home team. Up-tempo attack from Ava Meinhardt. Pulled up nicely from the Randolph-Macon libero. This time it's Kaylee Keough. She got blocked. Barlow on the cover, and then Meinhardt on the solo stuff. Look at her get into this thing. 17-11. Have a night, Ava Meinhardt.
Can't give up on those plays, and while Randolph-Macon had a really good block, Lynchburg had a better response, and they are showing us why they belong in this fourth set. Meinhardt, again, just staying on that net. It's been all game long, and it feels like the Macon Yellow Jackets are struggling even more and more to find that answer.
Timing up front from Meinhardt, too, and you talked about how well she uses her 6-foot frame. She doesn't really have to load up to jump. This one will go over the top of the block. Thibodeau to set up Keough. There's another one. Give her another one. Lynchburg has been feeding the hot hand at times tonight. I think everybody in the gym thinks they should keep doing that right now. Kaylee Keough is feeling it at the moment.
Insert and play. That's all you need if you're Kaylee Keough, and you have seen these sets go her way more often than not in this fourth set. It goes back to the Bree Spainhour third that we talked about. Those opportunities are going to find you as a player when you have the hot hand. It just feels like that's the world of sports, but Kaylee Keough just continuing to stay in her spot.
Does Randolph-Macon try to adjust? Oh, there's one that's maybe equal parts luck and skill as Kiri Thibodeau hit the top of the net, and it just barely spun over onto the floor. If you're Randolph-Macon, you call it all bad luck, but from a Lynchburg perspective, you're trying to serve tough, and that's part of that. Coaches will tell you keep the serve in between the antennas, so don't get it higher than the antennas go. That one looped over a little bit and was easier to handle for Randolph-Macon. Oh, that's firm up front right there.
Those are the plays you need, right, if you're Randolph-Macon, and you see that serve, maybe a few smiles from Lynchburg's bench. They know they maybe got away with one, but there's no time to waste if you're the Yellow Jackets, and you understand you get the right servers in place, there might be a chance to equalize.
Who does Thibodeau set? Tried to go back to Kaylee Keough, but that was off target. Hornets by 7. Courtney got stuffed again. Ava Meinhardt is absolutely putting the top on it right now. And it's a lot of solo blocking. We're used to the tandem two-person stuff from Lynchburg, Evan, but Ava Meinhardt, kind of a one-woman show up there at times.
Last year, she played 90 sets, and you understood right away she's somebody who's going to come in and make a difference. Seeing it even more now on a pretty big stage.
That one went through the rafters. Abby Barlow on the move again. She got all the way to the back wall to try to track that one down. Great effort, 20-13. Lynchburg by 7. Randolph-Macon up 2-1 and certainly not out of set 4. Lynchburg first to 20 again. Third time tonight they've done that. Thibodeau will set Williamson. Williamson kind of crash landing. Who was it? It was Ava Meinhardt teaming up with Jana Leak on the front row. Lynchburg blocking, absolutely walling up and taking away the airspace for Randolph-Macon hitters.
If you could draw a little square in that corner of the court, it feels like the Hornets have dominated in the last 2 sets, and it hasn't been soft either. You're seeing them exploiting Randolph-Macon's defense really starts with just the failure to block.
Tip, yeah, tipped by a Lynchburg defender there on the way by, even though it was out. 21-14. Randolph-Macon has trimmed the deficit to 7 at the moment. Meinhardt out for a much-needed breather. Lynchburg has DiNardo, Thibodeau, and then it's Ashlyn Davis up front. Oh, Barlow took a swing on a loose pass and got it over. Thibodeau to Barlow. High ball bump set, Ashlyn Davis. Macon looking to rebuild, blocked again. This time it's Tori Williamson and Leah DiNardo. That was probably one of Lynchburg's easier blocks on the night, Evan, but still worth a point, and that's of very high value right now.
And you're just starting to see the pressure that Lynchburg is really using, and it's been there all game long, but the reason that it's starting to show up on your screen is the fact that they are showing up every single ball that is loose. They are there first, and it's on the scoreboard now.
That swing was long. It scrambled the line judge. He had to do a little do-si-do, two-step to get out of the way of that hard hit. 23-14. Crowd getting on their feet again. Lynchburg is 2 points away from equalizing and sending this to a decisive winner-take-all fifth set. Jana Leak to serve. I think I gave Jana Leak credit for one of Ashlyn Davis's block, but it's a team effort. They won't mind at all. Leak with a good serve. Cesaro had a nice rip for Randolph-Macon. Kaylee Keogh hanging from the back row and firing. Stuffed up front again. This time it was Leah DiNardo. Solo stuff, and it's another Lynchburg block. We talked about blocking in the pregame show, and it has been outstanding in set 4.
That was better movement from Randolph-Macon, too. They were scrambling all around the court, but it felt like they had control. Lynchburg just picking the pocket at the right time.
Lynchburg by 10 with all the momentum. Looking to close out set 4. Oh, Jana Leak made the out call, but that ball just settled on the back line. So we play on temporarily anyway. 24-15. If you're Randolph-Macon, you know that a 10-point comeback is probably not likely, but again, you play it one ball at a time. You fight hard, and you see what happens in set 4, and if you got to go to set 5, you do that. That one close, no cigar, as Bree Spainauer tried a little soft touch long, and it was too long.
Just trying to find real estate. We've seen a few plays this time go Randolph-Macon's way, but you still get the sense the Hornets feeling pretty confident right now.
Got to try to hold on to the momentum as long as you can for Lynchburg. Could win it right here. Tori Williamson, not close to the net, but still a pretty effective swing. Keogh up to Jana Leak. She'll set Bree Spainauer. Have another one, Bree Spainauer, and let's have a fifth set. Lynchburg has won 2 in a row, and we are playing for all the marbles in an ODAC victory in set 5, Evan. My goodness, what a night. It's nearly everything we dreamed of.
You might have to start installing a fence around the court because I think everybody's slowly moseying their way down. The students are loving it, and Lynchburg energy is loud, and it's ready to go into the 5th.
All right, let's take one final timeout on the night because I doubt we'll want to step aside during set 5. Randolph-Macon won the first 2. Lynchburg has rallied, and we are going to set 5. Do not miss the conclusion. It's coming up next on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network.
The University of Lynchburg has helped me achieve goals because through my classes I do group projects, and I think that will prepare me for my job when I need to work with people. The person that has the most influence in my life would be my parents because throughout my softball career, they have done nothing but support me. And when I have bad games, they always pick me up. And they're always the people that I go to for anything because they just know that they're always there for me. I like playing softball at the University of Lynchburg because the girls and the team, they're all super fun to be around, and they always welcome you, and they're always there if you need anything. And if you ever have
They are going bonkers inside of Turner Gymnasium tonight. It is a madhouse. It is a code red night to remember, Evan. And it just gets better and better as we get another set. Bonus volleyball.
We said it before this game started. Last year's Code Red game was against Bridgewater. It was 3-0, and it really felt like it was over a little too early with the crowd as energized as they were. Forget it now. You got your moment. You have the big stage against a pretty good team in the ODAC. This is what you have to capitalize on.
No doubt about it. Lynchburg lost the first set 27-25. We wondered how much wind that took out of their sails. And then Lynchburg loses set 2, a convincing victory for the visitors from Ashland. But when you watched sets 3 and 4, you could not tell who had the edge in this one, and I still don't know who has the edge in this. As we go to set 5, remember we're playing to 15, still have to win by 2. Lynchburg 2-1 in 5-setters this season. Randolph-Macon has yet to play in a 5-set affair. Yellow Jackets came in at 4-2 this year. Lynchburg 4-3. This is ODAC game number 1 for both squads, and it has turned into a massive first conference game.
You just got to listen. This is what Turner Gymnasium's all about, and it feels like it's the early September slate, the first game back in this gym. We've already reached that peak feeling of you're back in Lynchburg and you're loving it.
It is really a legitimate professional sports atmosphere in here with the way the crowd has been involved. It has been a 7th player concept for Lynchburg. They have used the partisan home crowd to their advantage at times, and the crowd continues to be loud. I mean, it was rock concert loud in between sets. The officials had a short chat before the 5th set with our captains. Just a reminder of a few instructions. Randolph-Macon will get it underway, and the serve hit the net and down Caitlin Kaplan. And once again, you don't know how much the pressure affects each individual, Evan, but you got to think serving with that big crowd making noise cannot be easy for a visitor.
It almost felt like icing the kicker too with that extra conversation, and that's probably the last option you want to explore coming out into the 5th set.
You're exactly right. Wilhelmi from the back row got a good strike. Lynchburg up front. DiNardo tried to tip. Rebuild coming from Randolph-Macon. Nice job from Williamson, but the pass was too strong, and we're tied up 1-1.
Hornets tried to dig that one out. We've seen a few times today where it's been successful, but it just starts with some of the power on Randolph-Macon's side. They're using every inch of the court again, and that's where they have really succeeded today, where they are hitting max velocity on their hits.
Lynchburg has not beaten Randolph-Macon since 2020. Regular season game there. It's 5 wins in a row for the Yellow Jackets. Positive block touch up front, slowed that one down. Kaylee Keogh, my goodness! She banged that one off her shoulder. Kaylee Keogh is just firing, and you gotta feel bad for Caitlin Kaplan. She had no chance. That ball was on her in a millisecond, caroming off her left shoulder.
Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. It's been everything today, and Lynchburg is just trying to find that extra exclamation mark late in this one.
Straight up ruthless from Kaylee Keogh. And how about that? Another roof put on. Lakeside Drive Roofing Company, led by the 4-person Ava Meinhardt. She is clocking in to do major construction work and put the top on again for the Lynchburg defense.
Turning into a block party in Lynchburg, Virginia, and we're going to see it. They're up 3-1. You got the confidence. Can you keep on building?
Wilhelmi right into the midst of Abby Barlow. Kaylee Keogh, another one cross court, but wide. Good idea. Didn't come to fruition. Substitute coming in for Randolph-Macon is Ella Courtney. We've seen good things from her. Yellow Jackets are within 1. 3-2 is the Lynchburg lead in set 5. Hornets going for the reverse sweep. They fell down 2-0. Down, but definitely not out. Bree Spainhour, she's going to clock in again. Abby Barlow on the move into the front row, but she's okay. Back up and playing volleyball. Kaylee Keogh, nice little roll shot over the top. Lynchburg, had a chance to rebuild and reorganize, but Bree Spainhour couldn't control a hot shot that went right at her chin.
coin flips on some of these rallies. They've been so tight, and it just seems like there's another chess move in play for every option.
Yeah, it's move, counter move, read, react, and all under a microscope and a spotlight that is burning bright tonight. Breeze Spainhour. Oh yes, that'll work. Nice job off the outside arm with authority from Breeze Spainhour. Lynchburg back on top by 1.
Takes advantage of the defense's miscue there, but when you look at that 4 set, we talk about numbers. Lynchburg hit at 270 in the third. They hit at 385 in that 4th set. Those are the numbers that are going to get you on your way home. And again, just playing a 15, it's a sprint in the 5th.
4-3, Lynchburg by 1. Kiri Thibodeau to serve. Pretty good one there that was going to fall on the back line. Watch out for Wilhelmi. Punched at it slightly. Abby Barlow is there. Ashlyn Davis tried to hit one with the heel of the hand, and it sort of went straight down into the netting. We're tied up again.
It's so impressive from the Yellow Jackets offense as well, because Wilhelmi is almost at the scores table where she lines up for that one. The sets are going to find her, and you know what direction it's going. Can you block if you're Lynchburg?
Yeah, those great players can come from way outside off the court and yet still go down the line sometimes and use all the angles. Back-to-back miscues from Ashlyn Davis. 5'10" freshman from Hillsborough, North Carolina is getting adjusted to college volleyball, and I don't know how many crowds she played in front of like this in her high school days. Heck, most college volleyball players don't play in front of a crowd like this. Macon by 1. Meinhardt got stuffed, but then it went back over. That's a point for Ava Meinhardt. Sophomore continues to impress.
I don't know how the pinball machine works that well, because it seemed like it just snuck on in for Lynchburg. Now tied up at 5.
Kaylee Keogh, float serve, middle set for Wilhelmi. Got a good rip on that, but Lynchburg handles it. There's a long one from Tori Williamson. Lynchburg thought maybe there was a fingertip involved, but the refs say and it's a Randolph-Macon point, 6-5. Yellow Jackets on top.
Think you can live with it if you're Coach Cardoza, because we've seen Williamson have a few shots at it.
Ava Meinhardt wants another. This one's wide. Tried to go wrist away, and it was too far away, out of play. So Lynchburg with some hitting errors in this 5th set that seem to be haunting them at the moment. Ashlyn Davis had back-to-back, and then a couple back-to-back, one from Meinhardt, one from Williamson. 7-5, Lynchburg down 2. Here's Tori Williamson. She'll get lined up and get that one down. Smart right there from Williamson, Evan, because you've sent a couple out of play. Make sure you keep this one in play. Williamson did that nicely.
I like the confidence she has, not only to get it over, but to make sure you're going to sting it. You don't want to leave any room here for Randolph-Macon to respond.
Tori Williamson's got 13 kills. 14's the season high for her. And there's going to be the changeover. Teams will switch sides here in set number 5. But Lynchburg does trail 8-6 after a serve went out. So again, we've seen Lynchburg hit some balls into the net. You can call that self-inflicted. Do you say the same thing about the serves that go long and the swings that go too long, Evan? Or do you think that's pressure of the moment, I guess?
I think you have to look at it in the sense of you can control what you can control. And with 7 points to spare at this point, I think you got to take every opportunity if you're Lynchburg and make sure you're going to keep it in. We've seen some confidence, and they're not afraid to add those longer hits. But this is a time of the game you got to know your time and place. The score is going to just keep creeping towards 15.
Right. How do you balance the aggressiveness and the need to just get balls in play? And that's a fine line for sure. 8-6, Lynchburg down 2. Jana Leak wants to get it to Tori Williamson, right on target, and then slamming it down to get Lynchburg one step closer. 8-7, Yellow Jackets on top.
Lucky number 13 showing up at the biggest time, and you know that Tori Williamson is going to be targeted again, just like Wilhelmi on that outside. But for Lynchburg, again here, the serve has to be almost immaculate from here on out.
Hornets have Williamson, Spainhour, and DiNardo up front. There's a ball that's out. Hornets well read. And it's a tie ball game again, 8-8. And a reminder, we're tied up 2 sets apiece. Set 5. Set 5 inside Turner. We've seen a lot of 5-setters here. They all seem to bring something exciting, and this one just the same. That one might have hit off the right shoe top of Kaylee Keough. That was high velocity, had some sizzle to give Randolph-Macon a 1-point lead.
In the big moments, that's what has to happen if you're Coach Rogers' squad, and that is a brilliant play from Wilhelmi.
Kaylee Keough takes the serve. Jana Leak will set Bree Spainhour. Didn't get the handful, but still fairly effective. Spainhour slides into one. Leak tried to set her dump. Not there. She'll set DiNardo. Oh, man, she just peppers to the deep right corner. Excellent stuff from Jana Leak. She tried to attack one time. Wasn't going to do it back-to-back. She went with the short up-tempo middle attack.
Those are the types of hits. We talk about them being risky. You want to use the line. Forget all of that. Sometimes you just got to send it on in.
Yeah, sometimes it's going to be full send. 9-9, tie game again. That one's long. Another good read from Lynchburg defensively. They've guessed wrong on a couple close in-out balls, but I like their percentage defensively tonight, Evan. They've been really good about knowing when to leave it alone. Lynchburg's within 5, 10-9. Tori Williamson to serve for the Hornets. She'll jump into one. Oh, there was a one that the blockers got a piece of up front, and typically you want the ball to be slowed down, but it seemed like it threw off Abby Barlow's timing just enough, and we're tied again.
Yeah, spot where a pass is likely going to come under, but obviously the sprint is here. The marathon that was 5 sets has become a 5-point affair.
Yeah, it all comes down to the next 5. Bree Spainhour, my goodness, to the top of the staircase, and then a full send straight down. She just levitated up there, Evan. I mean, that was, I think, her highest jump of the night. She came down on top of that ball, hammer time.
And listen, not a better time or place to do it with Abby Barlow serving. Lynchburg trying to stay in the driver's seat.
11-10. It's a very, very slim driver's seat. And Lynchburg's been bounced out temporarily, tied up 11-11. You got to still argue, the crowd being what it is, Lynchburg's got a slight edge there.
Check your heartbeat, folks. This is the time of game. If you have stayed for this long, you got a treat on the other end.
Lynchburg maybe with a bit more experience. They're 2-1 in 5-setters this year. First 5-set affair for Randolph-Macon. Bree Spainhour, another point for her. She didn't go to the high-velocity ball that time, but it worked perfectly. Lynchburg back in that driver's seat again. One hand on the wheel anyway, Evan.
Well, if the Hornets just keep on crawling, they might get there first. They have had that 1-point advantage. And now the question is, can you use the serve to your advantage? All you need is 1 or 2 points to get Randolph-Macon sweating a little bit.
Kiri Thibodeau with the ball in hand. She's been solid serving so far tonight. Lynchburg by 1. Wilhelmi has to adjust and just slap at that one. See if Lynchburg can get going here. Ashlyn Davis, soft touch over the top. Wilhelmi, take 2. She got blocked, but no good there. And it's a Randolph-Macon point that ties it up. A dozen apiece for these volleyball teams from the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Number 1 in black. Doesn't matter if she's on the floor, out of the area code, whatever it may be. They're going to find her in the big moments. And now, just 3 points away.
16 kills for Kylie Wilhelmi. She's added 5 digs as well. 12-12. Barlow takes number 1. Oh, Ava Meinhardt got sent back. That was one that I think because of the pass, Thibodeau really only had one place to set, and that was to the middle to Ava Meinhardt. 13-12. Randolph-Macon up 1 and 2 away. There is a timeout on the court. We remain right here. Bree Spainhour leads the Hornets in kills with 15. Tori Williamson not far behind with 14. That ties a season high for her. Kaylee Keough, 13. Leah DiNardo, 9. Ava Meinhardt has 7. I mean, again, back to the balance of that attack, Evan. Jana Leak and Ashlyn Davis have 1 kill apiece. You love that balance, but let me give you a thought. Who do you go to when the pressure is at its peak, which is right now in set 5.
Ooh, well, like you said, there are so many options that would be a right answer. And I think it comes down to the situation, whoever's setting, who's in the right spot. But you see what Brees Bainauer is doing. You see what Tori Williamson has done in this 5th set. I think it has to start with just fielding some of these digs and making sure that you're going to get a good set on it. Because Lynchburg in this game, on the plays that they're running around, obviously have struggled. Have to take confidence and control from the outset right here.
13-12, Randolph-Macon is within 2. They won the first 2 sets, lost 3 and 4 rather, and found themselves with their back to the wall a lot tonight, but Randolph-Macon has responded, and now they lead by 1 in a decisive set 5. You don't have to play perfect volleyball here, but you have to be really, really sharp, especially if you're the Hornets down 1. Thibodeau wants to go to Keogh, had to punch at it. Kylie Wilhelmi blocked. Lynchburg couldn't keep it alive as it just sort of trickled down on their side. And now it is a set and match point for Randolph-Macon. It'll be number 34, Millie Mock to serve.
Superstar presence for Wilhelmi, and if you're Lynchburg, you just have to keep the door open any way possible.
14-12. Ball in the air from Mock. Thibodeau back to Keogh. She took 1 and 3. Hit well, but Randolph-Macon's going to get a chance, and it'll be their star. That's taken out of the sky by the Hornets. Kaylee Keogh, again, couldn't find a place on the floor for that one. Pressure cooker right here. Ava Meinhardt. Bump set to Ashlyn Davis, and the swing was not good enough. Didn't make clean contact, and that's how the game will end. We saw so much drama. Strange to see the game end that way, but Randolph-Macon has gotten themselves a 5-set victory, hard-earned in every sense of the word, and you have to feel for the Lynchburg Hornets in this one, Evan.
Just feels like there's an answer left to be desired after that one, but Randolph-Macon showed so much poise in the final 3 points. You can play an entire game. It doesn't matter how much composure you have. It comes down to the final ones. We saw Wilhelmi setting it up. We saw this offense look for who they needed to have in the biggest moment, and they came through. But the fight from Lynchburg, this is a much different team from last year. I think you're starting to see it on the scoreboard.
And it's wild to say that now Lynchburg has lost 3 straight, Evan, but I think the confidence might be higher than ever, really, because they've shown they can play with the best competition, put their back to the wall. Now you just have to finish some of these teams off. We touched on that a little bit when the game started. Lynchburg has actually fallen to 4 and 4 after starting the year 4 and 1. They have lost 3 straight. They have been hard-fought games, much like this one, a 5-set loss here where Lynchburg never gave up. Randolph-Macon goes to 5 and 2. They're 1 and 0 in conference play now officially. Lynchburg 0 and 1. We've said a lot tonight. We could stay here all night and revisit this one. This was a game that I think we're all going to remember for a very long time.
Well, and listen, having this one game as a teaser to conference play, I think is really good for both of these teams, because now you get these tournaments this weekend against some different opponents. For Lynchburg, happens to be a pretty big tour of the USA South with some of the Hill City Classic games. You understand where you've been, and it's just about getting there come October. You want to be playing into late November, and I think for the Hornets, you're just starting to see some of this potential of what could be later in the season.
It's a team for Lynchburg that is so exciting, so much fun to watch, so much talent. It's kind of the old adage, there's only one volleyball out there. I think that's part of the coaching staff. What they're trying to figure out now is who needs more swings, who's getting the right amount, what can we do to get so-and-so involved more. But I love Coach Kevin Cardoza, and I think it's going to be a really good year. And I think, boy, Randolph-Macon, sky's the limit for that team as well. You know, maybe we're not giving the Yellow Jackets enough credit. It looked like they were going to let this thing slip away after winning sets 1 and 2, but they come back and answer in set 5 in fine fashion. And they're busy this weekend as well. They'll have 2 at home on Saturday. The future for Lynchburg, we've teased it a bit, but let's tell you, it's Friday. 2 games. William Peace, that will be first serve at 3 p.m. inside Turner Gymnasium as part of the Hill City Classic. Then it's LaGrange coming in from Georgia. That game set for 7 p.m. William Peace and LaGrange will play at 5. So you could see 3 volleyball games in person if you want to get out here. And then Saturday, it's 2 more. Greensboro and North Carolina Wesleyan, 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. start times scheduled anyway. If you have a crazy 5-setter like this in there, Evan, they're going to have to adjust that schedule because we started at 7 and we're leaving at 9:20. So
I'm impressed that we had that with 5 sets because the amount of energy we saw everybody in the crowd, it was just infectious. And you look at some of these other 5-setters. We talked about Washington and Lee, a game that the Hornets came away with. There aren't many different pieces of the puzzle when you look at these 2 games. It's just these little plays here and there. Obviously, I think Lynchburg down the stretch has to be a little bit more composed, but in almost every set felt like they were ahead at some point. They were in the driver's seat. Now it's just about finishing.
I agree, and I think crowd was awesome tonight. Hats off to the Lynchburg students and all the other fans. It wasn't just students, of course. Players were incredible. We were blown away by everybody. Coaches were awesome tonight with the moves they were making. Our LHSN team was top tier as always. You and I, we were probably B+. We were the only ones that I think weren't awesome, but we're getting there, though.
Well, we'll get like A- by
I think so.
October or November.
I think by Friday we'll be A- because I believe we'll be working together again. We hope you'll tune in on LHSN or make your plans to see us inside Turner Gymnasium on Friday. And I guess we'll end it there, Evan. I mean,
Yes, sir.
again, we could spend another 2 hours talking about that match, but better yet, let's just go back and watch it, which is, again, the great thing about our LHSN broadcast.
Well, that's
they
right.
stay on there.
And
you can revisit.
It's been a pleasure the entire way, but I'll tell everybody, Randolph-Macon or Lynchburg fans, there's one thing. It's that the ODAC is on the up. We've seen it from teams already, and I think that there's a pretty bright future ahead, considering it's only September. The game's already living up to the expectation.
The ODAC conference just continually proves itself to be one of the best athletic leagues in the country. I think the sporting culture here at the University of Lynchburg has never been stronger. Looking forward to more great memories and moments like this season. And we'll do it again Friday. We'll make some more memories on Friday. We'll talk to you. First serve happens at 3 p.m. Friday. William Peace against Lynchburg. And then it's Peace taking on LaGrange at 5. LaGrange versus Lynchburg set for 7 p.m. And as always, stay up to date by following the Lynchburg Hornets social media accounts, whatever you prefer there social media-wise. And then check out the website, lynchburgsports.com. Evan, a pleasure as always. We won't make it all about us. We'll let the fans go to bed, and we'll be working together again Friday. Can't wait. Hope to have you along for the ride. Tonight, it's a Randolph-Macon 5-set victory. They take sets 1, 2, and 5, and it was close all the way to the end. A 15-12 win for the Yellow Jackets. Congratulations to them. Fun ride back to Ashland. Lynchburg will regroup and get back in the gym in less than 48 hours. We'll talk to you then, volleyball fans. Have a wonderful Wednesday night.